my picture. Put the picture up. Put the picture up. All right.
Mimic simple sounds such as a person whispering, a baby crying, an animal chattering. Creature that hears the sound can tell if it's an imitation with a successful DC of 10 or an insight check.
Right.
Okay. Oh no, it only has 1 hit point. So if you hit it, it's dead. And it won't be coming back.
All right. I'm going to...
Oh, I can't deal with headphones. Grr.
All right. I'm going to get this on, shutting off Facebook. And we should be good to go. All right, actually, I'm going to shut off my lights and kind of get everything ready. And then we'll just start with everything like that. So give me 2 seconds. Be right back.
Hey, Amanda.
Hey.
I love the blue in your hair, by the way.
Thank you. Extension.
They're quite lovely.
Thank you.
I can't pull off blue, so I like it. I like to see when people do it successfully.
Yeah, they're extensions though, so they just pop in and out.
Yeah, it still looks very nice.
Thank you. They're clips.
Whatever works, right?
Yep, yep.
Ooh.
Oh, eerie and junk.
Well, that was kind of the point, huh?
The skull in the background, I love it.
Yeah. And I got a little candle, and I can get a little like this. Except it's a scent that I can't stand. So.
Aw. I hate when that happens.
All right, guys, is everybody ready?
I think so.
All right, everybody, please mute your mic if you are not speaking. I am going to have we're going to talk a little bit, then we're going to kind of get right into it. So I am going to do a bit of a recording for the first 2 minutes of the game. So just go with that. And then I will, after the recording's over, I'll give you a little bit more information. And here we go. Good luck, everybody. All right, everybody, this is Drake with the RPG Construct for BrigadeCon 2016. Thank everybody for watching, for listening. I got 4 great players here, and we're going to be doing a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition one-shot adventure. It's going to be kind of a Halloween theme. Everybody kind of wanted a little bit, trick-or-treat and things like that, so we're going to be doing that up. Excuse me. Now, if you guys don't know what BrigadeCon is, there's some links in the content box at the bottom of this. Take a look at it. This is a charity that's sole purpose is to give children, sick children in hospitals, games, tabletop games, video games, consoles, just something to break up the monotony of just sitting in a hospital. I personally have had an experience with my children with this charity, and it's an absolutely fabulous thing. So if you can, go to brigadecon.org, take a look, donate if you can. There's t-shirts, these little t-shirts. I don't know if you guys can see that. And yeah, so we are going to get right into this Halloween themed 5th edition one-shot. We'll give the players a moment to do their intros a little bit later in the game. But we are going to begin if everyone's ready.
Let's do it.
All right. Then here we go.
Welcome, mortals. Tonight is All Hallows Eve, the night where the veil between the living and the dead is pulled back and the spirits are free to walk among you. What was not fulfilled in life is often sought in death by these lost souls. Many of these ancient and malevolent spirits desire nothing more than chaos to engulf this realm. As children, you feared what lurked in the darkness. Now, you have convinced yourselves that it is just your imagination. In truth, tonight, something stirs in the darkness. Something creeps in the shadow, and evil comes. So don't look under your bed. Don't open the closet door, and be sure to say your prayers, because all too often, something sinister prowls just beyond the candle's shadow.
And that, my friends, is where we will begin.
Nice.
On the road, you come upon the town of Misty Meadows, a town with a dark past and possibly even a darker future. It is deep autumn. The cool air brushes past you with a chill. And as you walk on this dirt road, you notice bright lights emanating from this village. You notice dozens of people wandering around from this distance. You see the oranges and the reds and the decorations that all of you know to be the Festival of Reaping. As you get closer to the village, you initially walk through a very large field. It looks to be a field growing pumpkins. In the center of this field is a very large scarecrow. It's the only one. You would think that something this large would have more than one, but it only has one, but it's probably about 10 feet tall. You see that most of the pumpkins have been picked, but some still remain. As you still walk closer to this village, you hear the laughing of children. You see jack-o'-lanterns decorating the outside of each home and the businesses. You see children dressed up and in masks. You see smiling, you hear laughter. This is a festival that children tend to like, with sweets and candy. Generally one that parents do not like, as we all know Halloween today. As you come through the patch, to your left, you see what you would probably assume to be a general store. An older gentleman stands there next to a barrel full of water. And you see the children taking turns sticking their head in that barrel, trying to bob for apples, all of them unsuccessfully. You smell that cider and the pumpkin and that kind of spice that we all associate with the harvest. What would each of you be thinking and doing? We'll start with Amanda.
Brother, do you see the festival? I'm so excited. Surprise to me. Oh, it's my crow, my raven. Oh, Raven, do you mind scouting ahead and perhaps find me something shiny? Thanks. So what is that? They're bobbing for apples? What do you get if you win? So I approach over to the contest runner.
And he would look at you and just kind of smile and say, would you like a turn, young lady?
I would. What do you get if you win?
He looks at you rather confused. You get the apple.
Oh, just the apple?
Sometimes that's the best one can hope for.
I see. And you just put your head in here and you just grab the apple?
He says, that's just about it. And he looks over at the rest of your companions and says, is this the first time you've been to a festival like this? What would the rest of you say?
Jace would look up from this book that he's been studying, just looking at it in his hands. Old, faded leather cover, kind of cracking down the spine. And as he's been looking at it, he's been kind of drawing runes, and these little phantasmal images of creatures have been appearing as he's reconstructing monsters, basically. Kind of getting a look at them as it's described and memorizing their features. And he kind of looks up, what? And he sees that you're over by the barrel, and he kind of just rolls his eyes, closes the book, the little minor illusion puffing away in a little sprout of mist, and walks over, says, no, I've seen one of these festivals before, over in the Arcanus. They have large festivals over in that town.
They do. Interesting. Tuffany, have you ever seen one before? Do you want to try for bobbing for apples? Can everybody do it or just kids?
I've seen this kind of thing before, obviously. I mean, they have them in most towns and cities. I'm kind of surprised you haven't come across it.
Oh, I've kind of lived a sheltered life, only the area that we've grew up in, me and my brother. So wasn't really big on festivals.
It's a relatively easy game. You just put your head in, try to grab the apple with your mouth, and then if you're successful, you have the apple to eat.
Oh, can you show me?
Oh, Lord. They always assume I'm a child when I try this thing, though.
And as you guys do that, the old man at the general store looks over at Jaren, and he said, well, at least one of you won't have to dress up for the festival. And he says it in a kind of a underhandedly condescending way, but trying not to be directly insulting. But your presence certainly makes him a bit uncomfortable.
But just kind of irk at him and let out this toothy grin that's supposed to be a smile, but it's just terrifying. And he holds up his side, and emblazoned on it, you can see a skull with a smaller side. And he says, I know of festivals of reaping, but where I come from, they aren't such a happy place.
And he would just nod to you, and he would kind of step to the side as Tuffany got a little bit closer. And he would ask you, Tuffany, he would say, do you need a stool?
Most likely, unfortunately. I mean, I am tall for a halfling, but still, I still am not as tall as many children. So, yes, please, stool.
And he would just run inside very quickly and just come out and say, don't worry about it. Most of the children need a stool. Some of the more older, and he shoots an eye over to Kit. They don't need that, but they're a little probably too old for it, but we let them do it anyway. We want them to enjoy themselves.
Understood. And I appreciate that. And yeah, I accept the stool. I would be most appreciative to use it.
So, Tiffany, are you going to go first? Are you going to bob for apples?
Sure, why not? I will bob for apples.
I want a dexterity check.
Oh, Lord.
We're not getting video feed.
Oh, we're not? Oh, shit. Are you seriously?
Yes.
This happened last night. We had
wait, this happened this morning also in the game I played in. You just give it a minute and it'll start. Because it says we're live, it'll just pick up in a little bit. It happened to us this morning too.
So we just keep going and it'll fill in?
Yeah, it'll just start up. Basically, it lags behind until a certain point.
But are we going to miss the beginning?
No, it gets it from like right as you press play.
Okay, well then we'll just go with it. Remember, guys, I'm playing this game for you guys, not for the audience. Anyway, so getting back, Tiffany, what was your dexterity roll?
15.
15 will get you an apple. You stick your head in there, but you have to almost dangle your feet over the edge because you have to go almost all the way in.
Oh, wow.
And you come up and you have a shiny red apple in your mouth. And as you taste the sweet juices just kind of filling your mouth, you remember back to when you were a child. You remember that something, that happiness from these festivals. And Jace would notice that this entire town, it's not a huge town, this entire town is decorated. There's lanterns, there's lights, there's streamers, everything in the colors of the harvest. But you notice at the far end, several hundred yards away of this town, there's a stone, looks like stone and mortar, looks to be a temple or a church of some kind. It's not decorated. It's not lit up. It's almost hard to see as the sun is setting behind the trees.
So I would mentally note this. Obviously, but caring for my sister, I want her to have experiences like this. So I would let her go, and if it looks like she's having trouble, I'm going to use the help action by using a mage hand to push the apple up.
Okay.
Oh, I was going to do that.
Oh, never mind. You can do it then.
No cheating.
Actually, what I was going to do was stick my head inside the barrel and mage hand all of them up at once.
That's a big mouth.
That is. So that's what Kit does. A whole bunch of apples just fly out in front of her, and she's like laughing and giggling. So much fun.
The old man would just kind of shake his head, smiling. This is all in good fun to him. This is a time that he enjoys people smiling and laughing. And again, behind you, you guys can see all the children running back and forth between the buildings, trying to scare each other, trying to spook each other out, and going to all the shopkeepers who happen to be holding baskets or bags of some type of a treat, and each of them get that handed to them as they go. As they come closer to the shop that you guys are at, they all tend to notice Jaren, and they're petrified. It seems that you would be one of those things that they are afraid of during this time. It's almost something that everyone in this town feels, this innate kind of fear of someone who looks like you. For whatever reason, you don't know. You do know that this town, all of you, know that this town does have a checkered past, but the specifics of it are a little bit fuzzy.
Evan not even thinking about his appearance with his black cloak, his size, and definitely a symbols of Naval, which is a death god. Just looks at the children kind of curious as he mutters under his breath that it's not death to fear, but how you live.
What was that last part, Jaren? I missed the back, man. You got choppy.
He mutters under his breath, "It's not death you should fear, but how you live."
Oh, okay. And this does nothing to make anyone less afraid of you. As a matter of fact, it kind of works. So, Tuffany, you are soaked from the probably halfway up your chest all the way to your head with this apple in your mouth. I'm assuming that you would either consume it or put it away. Jace is noticing what is going on around him, just making sure his sister is safe. And Kit has now pulled all of the apples out of the barrel using Mage Hand, and they have flown up into the air, and she thinks it's absolutely hilarious.
They're amazing. There's so many different colors: red, green, brown, even.
And this is how the festival goes. As you walk around, everyone is very polite. Everyone seems genuinely happy. And as you make your way down through this this village, just there's one main road in this town or village, you notice again, all of you notice now, that stone building or temple at the end. Now, Tuffany, you would notice that there is a symbol on the brick, and that is a symbol of the god Lathander, the god of light and good. And there would be a solid 40 feet between where the town ends and where this temple begins of just open area. And the odd thing that you would notice is that behind this structure is one of the largest cemeteries that you've ever seen. Almost too large for this village. You saw several dozen people at this festival, but you could easily see hundreds of gravestones in this area. It just seems a little off. And Tuffany, because this is looks to be a building of your patron, what would you do? What would you be thinking or doing?
The first thought that comes to mind is, why is there so many graves? I mean, possibly it could be the fact that it's, built up over time. This town might be very old, and this is just something over time, it's grown to be very large. But as for why the temple is not only not used, but somewhat seems like shunned, that's it's very questionable. I mean, it's something I would like to actually, I would want to go in and see what's going on. If there's something wrong with the temple itself, maybe it's unclean, maybe it just needs to be reported back to the other priests as to what's going on with this particular temple.
Okay. And Jace, what about you? What is your take on it?
So what I'm trying to figure out, because you mentioned a checkered past, I'm wondering if I know anything about this town.
Sure, give me a history check.
Okay, that's a 26.
Okay, you know a lot about this town. You've heard tales of the myth that they refer to as the horror at Misty Meadows, where this town was taken over by an evil arch-lich. You know that this town is close to some primordial tar pits that create this mist that usually envelops this town. You know that it used to be a mining town. You know that sometimes mining towns dig a little bit too deep and they find things they didn't intend. You know that almost all of this town was destroyed some 20 years ago. You know that this temple was put here to protect it from the evil that was. But the Misty Meadows stories, you've always thought were just stories about the boogeyman, things that never really happened, things that kept the children in line.
So as I'm kind of thinking about this, remembering some ancient book I read at the Arcanus, just like a history of this region, I'm kind of like thinking about it and playing it out in my head. And if anyone was watching, I'd kind of have the palm of my hand out, and there'd be like a little miniature scene of all this going on in my hand as I'm using minor illusion to play it out so I can see it playing out before me. If anyone was paying attention, they'd see that. And I kind of turn, this town has an interesting past. And I would relay all of this that I can remember.
And Jaren, as he says that, you feel a very slight tug on your left side. And you look down and you see this gorgeous, cute little blonde girl. And she looks up at you in your demonic face and she says, "Hi, my name's Sarah. Who are you?"
Jibbit kind of stiffens a little for a moment, and he leans down and goes, "Hello, little one. My name's Jibbit Hopper."
She says, "Hi. So are you going to go in there? Because you shouldn't. Father Elijah doesn't like anybody. You shouldn't go there." And then she turns her head over towards Kit and she says, "By the way, I like your hair."
Thank you.
And she turns and skips back to the festival.
The man with the candy, what is he doing? He's just passing out candy to kids?
Yeah, he's just standing. It's just, he's probably like the general store owner. He's just passing out candy. There's adults and children mulling around everywhere. As I said, it's a festival. Everybody's going back and forth between the little games and the prizes and the food. And it's just this town coming together to enjoy it, to enjoy themselves.
With my passive perception earlier, did I pick up on the Apple Man's inclinations about costumes and the hesitation?
It was more, he was unsure. I doubt anyone in this town have ever seen a tiefling, let alone one clad in armor. So I think he was just a little taken aback by that. Perception-wise, you didn't feel like he had any animosity or any maliciousness in him. He seemed just like he legitimately wanted you to have fun.
Okay. Big brother, do you want candy? Or surprise, do you want to grab me candy? Surprise!
Surprise being the name of your raven. You're
Yes.
familiar.
And Jace, yes, being familiar, kind of like he looks away. He doesn't like this raven very much because it's always mocking people, like copying their voices like a child would. And he just kind of like rolls his eyes as surprise flies up and kind of goes back to his book.
So with that being said, Jaren, this little girl told you, don't go in there. What would you be thinking? What would you be saying to your comrades?
Well, at first, Jibbit's really quiet. He's trying to take in that a kid actually came up and talked to him. That's not a reaction he's used to, even from adults, much less during this time of year. And then he just turns, looks to his companion, and says, "As she said, we shouldn't go in there. This Father Elijah wouldn't like it. I don't know about this father, but I really don't like not knowing, and if my hunch is correct, there's something to all these graves that I need to check out."
And with him saying that, what would the rest of you be doing? Specifically, Tuffany, you're familiar with this symbol. you're familiar that priests of Lathander are often referred to as father. What would she be doing or thinking?
Hearing about a Father Elijah, it makes me wonder, if there is a priest of the order that is assigned to this temple, why is he causing, trepidation to this town, fear to this town? It would even more so want me to go inside and find out what's going on with this priest and why he is not holding up to what Lathander is wanting of him.
And how would you convey that to your companions, specifically Jason, Kit?
I know this has really not a whole lot to do with you, but I would ask of you to accompany me inside to find out what's going on with the priest. I feel that for whatever reason, there's something amiss as to what is going on, because there's fear in this town due to this temple, and there shouldn't be. Lathander has nothing to do with fear. Lathander is light. And so this temple should even be glowing. So I would really appreciate it if you would come with me.
That sounds like a very wise idea. Surprise is going to fly back over Jace's head, and spectral poop is going to hit him because he knows that he doesn't like him. And then he's going to land on Kit's shoulder and place a piece of candy in her hand. Do you think we should ask anybody here about the church?
Jibin would say, I think that's a good idea. Get a better feeling for the people of the town. And
right.
then he
and did you see how many graves there are? Maybe we should find out.
He nods and looks at Tiffany and says, and he thinks real carefully, almost as if he's trying to piece together from his native tongue into comment, and says, darkness often fears the light. Therefore, if the town is afraid, perhaps it's not the temple. It might be the town itself.
Maybe. Big brother, do you want to go look at the headstones with me? Maybe we can find out when these people died and if they were close together.
Jace is staring at this bird, and for a brief moment, you would have seen a flicker of flame in his hand, but he just closes it and releases it and kind of looks away, taking a deep breath. And you see steam rising, and he kind of just closes the book, looks at the bird, one swipe of the hand, and throws it on the ground, and says, "Sure, why not?" And I kind of just beckon, lead the way.
And as you say that, Kit and Tiffany, both, just because of their passive perception, they notice the door to the temple crack open just ever so slightly, and they hear a and you don't see anything inside, but it stays open for just a brief few moments and then closes. That's all you notice, but both of you know that something opened that door. What would the four of you like to do?
Kit cocks her head, but she's like, I can open and close doors too, Mage Hand.
Okay.
I personally think that a good amount of persuasion was given in thought about finding out what's going on, maybe from the town itself. So perhaps we should first go around and talk to a few people, get a little bit of a feeling of what is going on from their perspective, and then we go forth to the temple.
Surprise, what was that sound the door made? Can you repeat it?
You're a jerk. It was
Did it sound mechanical or humanoid? Like animalistic?
It sounded like the creak of a door. That I'm really bad at making that sound myself. So
I want to go check out the gravestones. And she grabs her big brother by the hand and she moves. She's like 5 foot, so she's small.
okay, so you and Jace are going to go check out the tombstones. Jaren, what are you going to do?
Jib is kind of torn between the gravestones and asked around town, given kind of the reaction to him and how he is. He would feel more in comfort among the gravestones.
Okay, then the three of you will go check out the gravestones. What about you, Tuffany? What are you going to do?
I think I'm going to start back with the where the gentleman was that we were bobbing for apples, and since we seem to get along well enough, I'll start asking him a few questions.
Sure.
Maybe getting a little feel from him as to what's going on with the temple itself.
Sure. So the three of you walk off to the left around the outside of the building, and as you do that, Tuffany is going to walk in the opposite direction to the other end of town and speak to the general store owner that was running the Bobbing for Apples area. You notice that these gravestones, they're made of stone. They don't look that old. As you look a little bit closer, there are some from 100 years ago, 80 years ago, but the vast majority of these are from the same 2 or 3 days 20 years ago. You would all notice that it's often the same last names for 5 or 6 graves, as if entire families died on these days. There are hundreds of gravestones, far more than you could really observe all of them. And as you walk in there, the sun finally goes behind the trees. It is now dusk, and it's very difficult to make out anything else. You do hear the sound of the woods around it. You hear the sounds of rustling and broken twigs. Maybe you hear an owl hoot in the distance.
Surprise, go scare it away.
But everything is pretty calm here.
The family name. Oh, go ahead.
Jibin would look over these gravestones, noticing how many are the same names. Shake his head, says, "Neighbor doesn't take like that. That whatever caused this wasn't from death itself."
And Kit?
The tombstones, what do they sing on them other than the names? The way they died?
Most of them say in memory of. Some say rest in peace.
And you said they were all family names. The family names, are they in an alphabetical order? I love puzzles. And she thinks to herself, I wonder if this is a game.
No, they look pretty random. The same names is more, as you look at the dates, that there are some 50 years old, some 40 years old, and then right next to them would be 5 years old, 6-year-old, as if entire families died on the same day.
Okay.
What would Jace be?
So if it's all right with you, what I want to do is I want to basically cast a firebolt, but hold it in my hand instead.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like I'm holding a flame to give us some light.
Okay.
And because just these red lights are so, like from the flame, are just difficult to read by, I'm using thaumaturgy to change it to a white light, like a white flame.
Okay.
And I'm kind of just walking along each of these gravestones, kind of leaning in and investigating each of them. Do I know specifically what happened on that day? Like, have I ever read anything?
Yeah. As you rolled a 26 earlier with history, you know that this archlich was basically captured, and they couldn't kill him. So they bound him and they threw him in the tar pits. And over a century, as the tar ate away at his body, and then its body regenerated, that small crystals formed just over time. And over time, as he regenerated, these crystals became more prevalent, and they became something within this town that if they were touched, turned everyone, basically everyone who touched them was controlled by this evil.
So knowing this then, and standing in this graveyard, knowing that they tossed this incredibly powerful lich into a tar pit, thinking that that would at least seal it away, knowing that it's connected to the land still, if it still lives, that is. Jace, just kind of out of habit and out of just paranoia, you see him kind of reach up, and you've probably seen this done before. He draws a glyph over his eye, and I'm casting Detect Magic, and this glyph kind of appears in the center of my iris, and my iris goes a different color, becomes a gold. And everything before me now is a monotone gray and black and white. And anything that is magical appears to me, I can see it as kind of like outlined in yellow or filled with yellow.
Right here in the immediate area, the only thing that glows to you are a set of goggles that sit on your sister's forehead, and something in her pack that you know she carries from time to time, a little trinket or a piece of jewelry. And nothing else in the immediate area seems to be glowing. Everything looks pretty benign. And as you guys are kind of wandering, you hear, just maybe 30 or 40 feet away, you hear the slamming of a door, just, and you hear, "Get out! Get out of the cemetery! Get out! You are not welcome here! Get out!" And a older, probably in his 50s, man with a white beard comes running at you with a quarterstaff. "Get out of my cemetery! You are not welcome here!" And he is running at you.
Given a bit, his thing spin in his side round, making sure his holy symbols pointing out, says, "I serve the one who's lord over the cemeteries. Therefore, I am welcome in his place anywhere."
Okay. Kit and Jace, what would you do?
Oh, are we disturbing the dead? I'm sorry. But I couldn't help but notice that people died on this date years ago. Why?
And Jace?
I just kind of put a hand on Jaren's shoulder, like, "Peace, friend." Obviously, this man doesn't mean any harm. He just wants to protect what he believes is his righteous calling. I just kind of put a hand on Jaren's shoulder, just like, "Peace, friend." Just like, calm down.
And he stops about 10 feet from you. He's obviously scared, but he's kind of holding this staff, like, and kind of shaking. And you need to go. You need to get out of here. You don't want to be here. And probably stops about 10 feet away from you and just keeps telling you to go. And specifically to you, Jace, he says, "Take your sister. Get her out of here. You do not want her here. She is not protected."
Go ahead.
Protected from what? What do I need protection from, big brother?
I kind of just narrow my eyes at this guy as he's it almost sounds like he's desperately trying to get us out of here, not because he's mad, but because he's worried about something. I kind of cock my head to the side as I look at him. And I almost imagine that if he can see in the dark my kind of yellow glyphs glowing in my eyes. And I say, "There's nothing to fear but fear itself, friend."
He says, he just almost chuckles in kind of an hesitant way. He said, "You know nothing of what you speak. Look," and he points up. And you see this moon is full, but the edge of it has become red. And he says, The blood moon comes. There's not much time. You must go. Get out. Now, Tuffany, you would hear this. He's loud enough that you would hear this. Would you come back, or would you continue the way that you're going?
I feel that, they are quite capable of taking care of themselves, and I'm not really sensing that, he's more concerned about them than being outright a menace or damaging to them.
Okay.
I mean, at this point, I'm just going to continue on because I feel that I really need, I have this urgency now to find out what's going on with this temple. And I feel at this point, the best place to start is to ask around to find out, a few questions like who, what, why, where, type of questions. So.
Okay. So we'll get to that in just a sec.
Okay.
So with this man, he's just told you about the blood moon. What would you guys ask him?
What does one need to be protected from the blood moon?
Hey, Jaren, give me a religion check. Okay. Your history, you would know stories from your upbringing, how the evil of the world became more powerful during the blood moon. You would know that only once every 100 years does the blood moon happen on All Hallows Eve during the Festival of Reaping. But you wouldn't know the specifics of it. You would just have remembered those stories from your childhood.
Jibin would be eight that as to the group.
Okay.
Says, as perhaps the old man is right. I looks over at Kit. You should take her away from her.
But we don't know how far it extends. Just past the limits of the town, and it is probably getting dark. What does need to be done to protect somebody from the blood moon? And what does the blood moon do other than kill? How does it kill?
He looks at all of you and said, convinced that you're not going to go anywhere. You see this man put his hand to the top of his shirt, and he pulls off this pendant that he's wearing, and he walks over to you, Kit, and he says, I will explain, but you must wear this. And he hands you a pendant with the symbol of Lathander, with a small yellow gem on the bottom that is basically the sun in this particular pendant. And he says, I will explain if you promise to not take this off. You promise to wear this. And he looks up at Jace. Her life may depend on it.
Jace, big brother, is it safe?
Do I notice anything weird about this? I've still got my detect magic on.
You would say that you would notice that it was divine. It was more divine magic. It
Okay.
wasn't arcane, so it would probably glow a different color, but you do know that it is at least blessed.
I kind of just nod and say, well, it's not of evil. It's not cursed. So, I mean, it should be fine to wear. And I kind of like look at him with this look, like if it's not okay to wear, like you're going to answer for it.
He just nods his head. He said, come, we don't have time.
Okay. And she puts it on, and she's like, what can we do to help you? I know I'm just a child, but I'm actually more than what I appear, and you've been so kind.
He says, kind. And he kind of looks up and off in the distance, and she thinks I'm being kind. And he says, just come with me. We don't have very long. And he gestures for the three of you to go into the church with him, or the temple.
Evan and would call out for Tiffany as they approach the church, and he would actually halt at the doorway, and kind of usher Tiffany in first and then look at the old man and says, "This isn't my normal stomping ground, if you could call it that."
Tuffany wouldn't be able to. I mean, she had kept going, so you guys had a little bit of conversation. You wouldn't be able to call her, but you can certainly say what you said. But Tuffany would be away. She would be off by herself right now.
Yeah, I would still call for her not knowing
Okay.
exactly how far she went.
And Kit, would you be going in with him?
I would first communicate a surprise to look at the necklace and see if there's any more shiny baubles that look like this around other children's necks.
And can you communicate with him like that?
Yep.
Okay, telepathically?
Yep.
And due to your perception, you would have noticed that almost every child, with the exception of the little girl that tugged on Jaren's side earlier, is wearing a necklace very similar that has a gem very similar.
She closes her eyes and concentrates on surprise. Is that child anywhere around? She looks through his eyes.
Nothing that surprise can see. If she's still around, she's in one of the buildings. She's not visible right now.
Okay.
And Jace?
I'm kind of bringing up the rear, kind of looking over my shoulder still and up at this moon. I figure that if this is that big of a deal, I've probably read about it also. And I kind of start skimming through this book, like blood moon, blood moon, blood moon. So it'll take a bit of time, but I'm like looking for any references regarding it in this book of monsters I'm holding.
Give me a religion check.
Oh, 26 again.
You know that areas that are prone to, for lack of a better phrase, evil, to go there. Areas that are haunted, areas that are where demons or apparitions or spirits or tormented spirits may live, become more active during the blood moon. The blood moon amplifies their strength. And from your reading, you would know that at times of the blood moon, all of these areas are to be avoided at all costs, especially after dark.
Yeah, so Jace has never been a religious man, but he does believe in the paranormal. He believes in these monsters. I mean, he basically lives on this book. And knowing this, he's definitely keeping a watchful eye out. He's never seen a blood moon. Obviously, he hasn't lived that long, but he's being very, very wary.
Would you guys go inside with Father Elijah?
Evan still hesitating would look at Father Elijah and say, "And do I, one such as I, have the permission of your Lord to enter? After all, without life there is no death."
Hold that thought. What about Kit? Would she be going with him?
Of course she would, and she would probably take his hand.
Okay, and Jace?
I just realized something.
What?
I'm going to roll to see if Jace would come to the same conclusion that I did. No. Okay. I rolled too low. Yeah, I'm not going to metagame that. Okay, so I just kind of go in with them, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, put it in the chat. I'm kind of curious what you're thinking. So with you guys doing that, we're going to pan over to Tuffany. You've made it over to the old general store guy, and he's still around the barrel talking to the children. And he looks at you and he says, "Back again? Want to have round two?"
No, and I do thank you for the offer. I did have a few questions, though, if you wouldn't mind. As we were traveling through the village, we did come across a building that wasn't decorated like the rest, and so come to find out, it actually was a temple of Lathander. As a priest of Lathander, I know for a fact that, you know, our temples do have an aura of light that are around them. And I was just kind of curious, you know, what's going on with that temple.
He kind of sits back, and there's a little rocking chair on the front porch of this store, and he sits back in it. He said, Father Elijah, or Elijah Thacker as I knew him. He's been around a long time. He was around during the dark times. He built that building, that temple, almost with his own two hands by himself. He is one of the few things that holds this town together. But he's a little, and he looks up, eccentric.
Okay. Well, I mean, if it is a true temple of Lathander, do you know why why Father Elijah doesn't have it sanctified and the aura glowing? I mean, have you heard anything about that?
For the last few days, he's been acting strange. He's been talking about some moon and some prophecy and some, protecting the children. He's kind of a crazy old coot to most of us. He's got something in his mind that's going to happen, but this town is protected. There's nothing. We've ensured that there's nothing that can hurt us. He's just a little crazy. He's a little too far in his head, and maybe he needs to have a drink.
Then I have two questions for you. First would be, what kind of prophecy is he coming across, and not coming across? What kind of prophecy is he, trying to? Is he bringing it forth? Is he just foreseeing it? And then the second question I have for you is, how is the town protected?
He goes, this guy has obviously had a couple ciders, maybe a little hard cider.
Okay.
And your questions to him come across, and he's just like, look, if you have questions, go speak to Elijah. This is a festival. We're here to have fun. I don't want to seem rude. I don't want to seem unwelcoming to a stranger, but you need to speak to him. I have children here that I need to look after.
Oh, fair enough. But can you possibly answer the second question of how you are protected? Is it because of the Temple of Lathander? Because I can fully understand that.
It is not the temple itself. It is what lies within that keeps us safe. And at that point, he turns to the other children that are in line and getting very impatient as he speaks to this little halfling. They're basically have their arms crossed, and they're tapping their feet at you. Like, come on, it's my turn.
Fair enough, children. Fair enough. Enjoy your festival.
And you, I assume, would head back towards the temple?
You assume correct.
All right. And as you get to there, you see Jaren kind of standing in the doorway, kind of half in, half out. And what would you say to him as you walked up the steps towards these heavy kind of oak and iron doors?
I would say to him, we need to be on our guard. Something is not right here. The gentleman at the store says that this Father Elijah, and I feel though that this will be something else later, but the Father Elijah is very much into a prophecy, and he said something also about the town being protected, but he wouldn't go into it. And all he told me is that I needed to talk to Father Elijah. But I feel deeply that we need to be on our guard.
Jib and would turn to Tiffany. He says, as the necklaces and Kit has put one on as well.
And
then he looks back to Father Elijah and waits for his response to basically asking permission to enter.
he would say, as the other three begin to enter, he would absolutely just motion, of course, yes, I told you to come in. You have permission, demon. Come in. But don't get any ideas. And as you walk in, Tuffany, you would notice that the pendant that is around Kit's neck now, that was given to her by Father Elijah, looks very similar to the one that you wear. The one that is your symbol for Lathander. And Kit would notice that too with their perception.
Twinsies.
By the way, when Father Elijah calls him demon, I give him a look and say under my breath, he's a better man than most I've met. You should treat him with respect. And continue into the building.
Okay.
Evan just kind of tilts his head, gives a brief nod, and says, even among demons there are some honor.
And Tuffany, would you say anything to Kit with that matching pendant?
I'm kind of worried that Kit, did Father Elijah give that to you?
Yes, he did. Do you want to examine it? Here, let's compare. And she keeps it on because she told the guy he wouldn't take it off, but she does go over to Tuffany and she puts it like next to hers.
Okay.
Right, and at that point, I'm going to thoroughly examine it and see if what the differences are between mine and the one that he constructed.
The only difference that you really see is yours is more refined. Yours looks like it was painstakingly, carved, and the gem was inset and carved and shaped properly. Mm-hmm. Hers looks quick and kind of thrown together. It was kind of a chip of maybe a bigger gem, and the just leather strap, and nothing as ornate as what you're wearing.
And do I get any kind of, I guess what I need to figure out is, do I get any kind of vibe off of it that might be negative?
When you hold it, you feel warm. You feel content. It does not give off anything negative to you in your hand.
Okay, so sorry about that. It gives off then the feeling that my own pendant would give off then.
Just about, yeah. Maybe okay. Yours, maybe not as much as yours would, but certainly the same feeling, yes.
Okay.
And go ahead.
No, I'm good.
And then Father Elijah, as you walked in, would notice that you were wearing the same, and he would go, well, maybe you did come for a reason. I can't do this alone. You all need to sit and you need to listen.
As he's saying, and the Jevon still hasn't stepped inside, and he would start speaking Infernal, or just as a quick prayer naval, or basically say it, and he's a coward, but Naval knows that the only thing he fears more than whatever is to come is facing Naval himself being developed in his duties.
He would go ahead.
and he would just is kind of look at Father Elijah, almost this distant look of knowing that someone's time I'm on this earth is up tonight. And then he would walk inside and sit close to the door or behind him, and then take a seat.
As you take a seat with the others, Father Elijah looks at you almost in a glaring, kind of hateful manner. And in your infernal tongue, he says, "Insults will not win the day. Watch your tongue, demon."
Evan would kind of laugh and say, "Insults. I was simply stating a fact of that I am terrified of most things, but not most of naval." Oh.
As you're doing that, he just kind of he goes, "Look, I don't have time to mess with you. I told you that I would tell you what is coming will devour this world. This town, it's just a place where bad things seem to happen. I built this temple to protect it. I built everything here to keep everyone safe, but it hasn't worked. I think strange things have happened. People have gone missing. People have done terrible things, and everyone just ignores it. But I know when the blood moon comes, something will come with it. Something that I'm not sure if I can destroy."
Do you know perhaps what it is or what it looks like? Is there books or documents about him?
There's no shape. It is what it wants to be. All I can tell you for sure, it is more evil than anything you have ever seen, anything you have ever met, anything that this town has ever seen.
And the only way to stay safe is to be locked in here and with this amulet?
The light of Lathander can save you. Sometimes we have to choose who is saved and who is not. I do not have enough power to save everyone in this town, but I will save the children. And he says, I was going to flee. I was going to go. But as I packed, I could hear the children playing. And I couldn't, in good conscience, leave them here to die.
But you were just one. How can just one protect the town?
I am not alone. Lathander will give me strength, but I cannot save them all. But you, with that pendant, can be saved. The rest of you, I'm sorry. It will end here. And he looks at Jace and he says, I know you think you know so much from your books. I've known many like you, many wizards that put the divine aside to study the arcane. But the arcane power of the world has limits. The divine does not. Put your trust in Lathander, and you may survive.
Jace, being stubborn as he is, he's kind of surprised though, because literally as I was waiting to talk, I was thinking like this is what Jace is gonna say, like, yeah, you like just kind of scoff. Yeah, okay, put your trust in Lathander. I don't believe in what I can't see, basically. And then he says this to him, and he kind of like looks at him, like wondering if he's using some sort of a mind reading spell. Kind of studying his face, and he didn't notice him do any somatic or verbal components. So he's kind of just like studying him as he says this, and says, do not misunderstand. I have studied a bit of divine magic in my time. I believe everything has a source. If yours is your gods or your morals, then so be it. As for me, mine is my understanding of the arcane, of that which exists around us. It's not that I don't trust in your God, I just have nothing to go off of that would lead me to believe in him.
Well, maybe tonight you'll get that chance. And he looks over at Tuffany and he says, you believe. I can sense that you follow Lathander.
I indeed do. I mean, I have for many years.
We will need your power if we want to get through this. And as you guys do that, you hear, or he's talking about, you hear, and you hear the door, those big heavy oak doors swing open, and you see a middle-aged man, just looking like your typical townsperson, just running as fast as he can, the 30 feet between you guys and the door towards you. He says, "Father, come. She's doing it again. Please, Father, help us." And he literally grabs Father Elijah by the robe and says, and just pulls him with him. And Father Elijah looks back at all of you. And he says, "Come, you'll want to see this."
I follow curiously.
What about the rest of you?
Side surprise. What do you see? Looks through eyes. Looks through Surprise's eyes.
And where is Surprise now?
Surprise is outside, so the thudding was from outside?
It was actually from the doors. Somebody was banging
Doors
on the doors.
Inside the house? Inside the church?
The thudding was the man on the outside of the church banging on the doors, and then he pushed the doors open.
Okay, so Surprise is outside. So what does he see outside, like by the church? The guy that's pounding on the door. Does he see the reason for it?
Well, he would, at this point, he would see this guy pulling Father Elijah very quickly towards this home, kind of behind the main row of buildings. You would see most of the townspeople they've all kind of stopped and kind of wandered over towards this house. And you hear screaming. You hear what you would assume would be like the cries of a mother, just wailing and crying in sadness. And then you hear a very kind of guttural coming from that same area. And but you can't see anything. You just see that the townsfolk are kind of gravitating towards that area.
Do they seem, through Surprise's eyes, do I see them have a glazed look on their face? Are they hurriedly running to that one spot? What
They're like? They look curious. They hear these things too, and it's a small town. It looks like they kind of just want to know what's going on.
I think they're being drawn to whatever that is, and I'm guessing maybe, is there any kids in that area or just adults?
Both kids and adults.
None of them wearing amulets? Some of them wearing amulets.
All of the children that you can see are wearing amulets.
Okay, never mind. I don't know why people are gathering in one spot.
And what about Jaren and Tuffany?
I immediately start following the priest and ask, so what's going on? You said that we need to see this. What exactly is this? And
kind of out of breath, he responds with, "You'll see. Just come."
Jim will get up and follow his companions. Although as they're passing the crowd, he would push back his hood, making it quite obvious what he is, and start scowling at the crowd and says, "Get back!"
Okay.
Watch from a distance if you must. But I fear this won't be pretty. And then he turns and follows them right into the house.
Well, the priest, as you guys all go, maybe 100 yards over to this other house, that low kind of guttural growling gets louder, and you just hear a woman's voice just wailing, come on, honey, please come back, please. And the priest has gotten there early, before you guys. He says to Tuffany, I'm going to need you, the rest of you, please wait out here. And he asked you all to just kind of stand guard, and asked Tuffany to go in. Would you guys comply?
I think Evan and would nod at Kit and Jace to take up the front of the house, and he would actually be standing like right in the doorway to where the priest is leading to Tiffany.
Okay. What about Jason Kit?
Kit will look at her big brother. Do you think it's safe? Do you think we should go out? Do you think we should stay?
Kind of just look at her and say, I do not know what's going on, but if he says stay out here, then we'll comply with him for now.
Seems to be nice.
Sorry, go ahead.
Seems to be nice. He did give me this trinket.
I kind of slowly nod and say, I don't think he's a bad person. I just wonder as to what is happening. And I kind of look at the crowd. Does the crowd look worried?
Yeah, they look really worried. I mean, they hear just like you do, this guttural kind of growling, and they hear this mother screaming. They look really concerned.
Not to mention they just saw a demon walk into the house.
That too.
Now, my question is in my vast, or not my super vast experience, but in my experience, do I recognize the sounds coming from this house at this point?
No,
I do not. Okay.
Yeah, but I need to know if you're going to go in with Father.
I am going to go in because I'm very curious. Not only am I a priest of Lathander, I'm a halfling. So we've got natural curiosity coming out of our pores.
Okay.
So I'm going.
Okay, so you'll go in. What would Kit be doing?
So he wants us to go outside, then we'll go outside. What is that sound, I wonder? Surprise, go investigate.
You want to send the bird in? Okay. Then he absolutely flies in. Jace, would you be standing there with your sister?
Yeah, I'm standing outside, kind of trying to figure out what to do with the situation, how to maybe calm the crowd down. He's not one for public speeches, most definitely, and he's kind of just standing there awkwardly. He keeps reaching towards his book, that's what he does when he's in a weird situation, but he kind of takes his hand away, no, now's not the time.
And we're going to pan inside of this small home. And as you walk in, Tuffany, and Surprise will see this as well, they pull you to a back room where you hear that wailing from the female figure. You see a firelit kind of living area, and through the next old wooden door seems to be a child's room. And as you walk in, you notice a small bed. You see dolls strewn throughout the floor. And you see Sarah, the small child that pulled on Jaren's side right in front of the church, and who complimented Kit's hair. Except she doesn't look like she did before. She is bound. Her legs and her wrists are bound to the bed. And you see her eyes are closed, but you just hear this sound emanating from this cute little child. And the mother looks at you, Tuffany, and she says, "Please help her. Please, She's my only daughter. Please help.
I turn to the priest and is she possessed?
He says she has something inside of her. I don't know what it is. I have worked to remove it for weeks. Maybe together we can.
Surprise messages Kit, and Kit actually runs over to where you guys are.
On the inside?
Yeah, she opens the door. I think I can help you.
Okay. As Father Elijah sees you, he kind of snaps over and says, "Back, child. This is not a place for children."
It's okay. I think I can help. I know I can.
If you want to remain, you stand back and keep your mouth shut.
Jim and would look at Father Elijah step in front of Kit and says, "Go ahead, and if you fall, I'll bring in my half to make the whole."
Jaren, did you walk into the room with Kit?
Yeah, I would have had to because I was literally in the doorway.
Kit causes a distraction of a child running through the hall just long enough to keep the priest's mind preoccupied, or like, what was that? By using minor illusion. And then she wants to run up to Sarah, the child, and put her hands on her, and use protection from evil and good. So
as you start, okay, this is what I need. I need you, Kit, give me a strength roll.
Okay, it's a 14.
Okay. Almost. As you kind of get ready, you're kind of going over to her. You notice, all of you that are in that room, you notice this child that is laying on the bed and bound at her ankles and her arms. You notice her begin to float off the bed, and that she's still bound, so she can't go off of it, but she rises several inches off. And as you start to get close, Kit, you notice her open her eyes, and she's initially looking up, and she shoots her gaze directly at you. Her eyes are glazed over white, and some force pushes you back right outside of that door, and that bedroom door slams shut.
Well, that was disappointing. Somebody open the door.
And Jaren can absolutely open the door in a minute. He can. But now that these eyes have been opened, this child kind of cocks its head up and looks over, and the voice coming out of this cute little child looks at Father Elijah and says,
"Hello, Father. We have not seen each other in a while. It's nice to be seen."
And Father Elijah gets absolutely petrified. And he looks over at Tuffany and says,
"You are like him. You will fail."
And with that, Tuffany, I need you to make a strength check for me too.
Okay. Let's see. Ah, crap. Only got a 9.
The same as Kit, some force almost whacks you in the chest and just forces you, just slams you up against the wall. You take 2 bludgeoning damage as you just get slammed up against the wall. This creature begins to laugh as everyone is either scared or pushed aside or thrown out of the room, and you just hear this kind of and then the child's head goes back looking forward, and the eyes close, and the child settles down back on the bed. And Kit, in front of you, the door swings open again.
She looks at her big brother. Do you think it's better to leave the spirit in the body or take it out?
In my experience, a possessed body is definitely not a good thing, as you've probably just experienced. Probably best to remove it if possible.
But if we remove it, where will it go?
Well, I could not say. Hopefully not into somebody else, that's for sure.
Maybe it's the body that's keeping the spirit in, not to kill the town. Maybe it's the sacrifice of one for the good of the many.
Kind of like look at her as she says this, kind of my eyes narrowing, like you can't mean that, like sacrifice a poor little girl. And I kind of just frown a bit to myself, kind of just shaking my head.
Chose to be sacrificed. Maybe she wanted this for herself.
You kind of look expectantly at Elijah to see what he has to say on the matter.
Elijah is kind of composing himself. He said, "This has happened before, but never that strong, never that much. When the blood moon comes, when it's full, I won't be able to stop it. We need to remove the spirit now." And he kind of shoots a quick glance over to Tuffany and says, "Will you help me?"
I will help you. This child needs to be saved.
He goes, "Okay then." And he asked Tuffany, he said, "Have you ever done something like this before? Have you ever pulled a spirit from another?"
I have been a part of a few exorcisms. I know the basics of it. I can do some of the spells myself, but there are others that I can't. And I'm just not that proficient yet.
He nods and he says, "Any bit of help will be appreciated."
And just looks at these says, I can remove the spirit easily enough. The problem I have is that the host will die also. And that I do not wish. It's not her time.
He says, "If you two can get the spirit, you let me keep the child alive." And he goes over to the bed and he puts his hand on top of the child's head and he begins to mutter a prayer. And he looks over at Tuffany and Jaren and he nods. And both of you, it's pretty obvious that he means begin. What would you start doing at first, Tuffany?
I would start placing down a magic circle to surround the child. That way, when the entity is finally removed from the child, it cannot go anywhere.
Okay. And Jaren, what would you do?
Given seeing it and this and knowing what it's about to happen, it would step right into the circle or his sheep eat right on the child. Start praying to Nehru or and basically in Inferno, he's saying he knows it's his time to meet. He is God.
Okay.
And basically beseeching they will to put the spirit into him if it's going to break free.
Okay. And what about Kit and Jace? What would you guys be doing? Because you're there as well.
Well, it looks like they got it handled. Want to go outside?
Jace has been standing outside. He's been talking to you from outside the door as you got pushed out, and he kind of just he wants to watch. He does, but he knows it is probably not the place for him. He's never seen probably this done before, and he kind of just. I'm gonna actually roll something real quickly.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So he has like an inner struggle, but he kind of decides that probably not the best place for him to be. So he kind of just nods and steps outside to the awaiting crowd, and I kind of just like I'm gonna try and calm them, even though my charisma sucks, and like be like, everything's under control, it'll all be okay. I'll try and roll like persuasion, but it's probably not gonna be very good.
I'm gonna use
Yeah.
help for persuasion.
Okay.
Oh, cool. Well, I got a 12 because I have -1. So
It's okay. I think that any type of distraction, as the growling has stopped, I think any type of distraction, or maybe Kit doing I'm sure she has her ways of making people smile. I'm sure you guys could do that. And as things begin inside, you two would both notice that you hear something very odd as the sun, it's pretty much dark at this point. There's just a little bit of light remaining. You notice dozens of ravens coming and landing around this house on the different buildings. The only structure they aren't sitting on is the temple. And you can hear them cawing and making little sounds. But having been pretty familiar with the raven, Kit finds this to be a little bit unnerving. And we'll get to that in a moment. So you draw this magical circle. And what would this look like, Tuffany? What would you do?
In order to draw the circle, I would have to have a good amount of iron, a good amount of silver, and holy water, and be casting the circle physically with all three. And upon finishing that, that's where I would begin my prayer to Lathander to bless this area, to consecrate it, to keep in the spirit once it has been removed out of the child.
Okay. And as you do this, this is something that you've helped with before. You do have the components. As you complete it and start saying this prayer, you would see this kind of yellow orange almost cylinder just flash up from this circle, and then that light kind of fades away, but the circle still glows faintly yellow as you go. And as you complete this spell, again, that child's eyes flash open white, and she looks over at you and she says,
"What do you think you are doing?"
I guess you're going to just have to wait and find out.
"You are nothing mortal. You
excuse me,
will die with the rest of them."
Well, if it is my time to go, then it is my time to go, but I will gladly go into Lathander's arms.
Yes, you will go.
And
possibly you'll go too.
he doesn't respond to that, but the child begins to rise again, and mixed with this low guttural voice, you hear the voice of a child, and you hear, "Please stop, it hurts, please don't do this, just don't, it hurts so much, stop." and you feel the home and the ground slowly start to rumble, and you hear just again that growling and that low guttural thing as the lanterns and the lights within this home start to flicker just in and off. It kind of goes dim and then it'll go brighten up.
Don't worry, child. It may hurt even for a little while, but once it is done, you will be the better for it.
And Father Elijah will scream to Jaren, "Now, demon, draw it out."
And still speaking in just lays his hand. I on his side. I think casting hellish rebuke.
On what?
Directly on my side. I've which is silver and blessed with my deity. Hoping to kind of trigger the power of my deity to draw the spirit out and into himself.
So let me just try to get this straight. You want to use hellish rebuke to the side of you. And
it would be right on my side, which I laid on top of the child.
Oh, you laid on top of the child. Okay. I'm going to say with this happening, that you notice from the child's chest, you notice a kind of bluish spectral lump. It's not really a form of anything. It's more just kind of a shape. And slowly, as you all are saying your prayers, this shape comes further and further out. You notice this to be kind of a lanky, skin almost looks burned or ripped or torn. You notice claws. You notice appendages. Jaren, this is something that you're familiar with. This is something that you know that this is a demon of some kind. You know this isn't a high-ranking one. This isn't a devil, but it's something that you have dealt with before.
Jim, it starts to laugh almost in the maniac mode. To others, he would be crazy. And Inferno, he says, "Enough, demon." The child goes free.
And with that, I'm going to say that you grab this demon. You grab with your hand, and you begin to start to pull him out. And you get off of this child, and as you're getting off, you're pulling this child. But as you are holding it and you're pulling it even further, you pull as you yourself are half demon. As the demon gets to the circle, you hear almost, and you see this kind of spectral energy begin to spark as it crosses that path. But as you keep pulling it, you can see this circle, this shell, begin to crack. You can see it begin to fail. And with that last final, yank on it, all of the lights in this house go dark. The rumbling stops. And that magic circle begins, those cracks begin to get larger and larger until that circle itself shatters.
As soon as it starts to shatter, Jim ever just open up his mouth out and pop the spirit straight into himself.
I need. Give me a religion check, Jaron. This is going to be a hard one. So.
Not the best. 11.
So okay, yeah. As you begin to pull him, and it's like I said, the cracking starts, and this thing just shatters, and this spectral demon stands above this small child, and he looks at all of you in that room, and he says,
You are nothing. Now I am free.
and you see this form kind of turn into more of like an ethereal, gaseous form, and it goes immediately towards Father Elijah and actually passes through him and out of the residence, out of the home. And as it does that, all the lights flicker back on.
Evan almost instantly would grab his side and start chasing after this gas.
You
As close as he could tell.
would you honestly wouldn't be able to. Both you and Tuffany now have one level of exhaustion. And this entity going through Father Elijah, it kind of causes him to stumble. And the last thing you guys see is Father Elijah walking out of the room, stumbling and falling just outside of the front door as he tries to chase this entity. To the awe and the surprise of the crowd and to everyone else, as this cleric of Lathander falls unconscious on the porch. And we're going to take a 5-minute break. Hope everybody takes a bio. Thanks for, I figured that was a good place to stop. We're only about an hour and a half in. Ty, you going to stick around for a while?
Yeah, I can stick around for a bit. I'll just run after we do the bio thing.
Okay, no big deal. Like I said, I'm not really worried about the chat or anything. So if you want to do a bio, go ahead and do it, man.
Yeah. So you want me to just introduce my channel, basically, or what do you want me to do?
Oh no. We're
what
going
do
to
you
do that. We're going to do that here when we get back.
Wait, bio.
Bio break. Go pee. Get a drink.
Oh, okay. I get you. Okay.
All right,
I was so confused. I've never heard it referred to as that before. All right, cool.
All right. I'll be back. Yeah, Jaron, I had that whole scene planned out, and I did not think that you were going to join in, and I ad-libbed that entire thing because
Good, because I'm not done yet.
oh well, you might be. Yeah, I actually had the whole thing. I had actually talked to Yvonne about her maybe having to do an exorcism, and I actually asked her to plan it all out. Then you decided to try to steal the show, there, Mister. Tell me this: what were you trying to do, laying on the child?
With the size, that was basically trying to claim the body
Oh,
for a navel.
interesting.
Oh. And I'm afraid at this point I might have to invoke my mother.
Invoke your mother?
Yep. Remember, I'm half demon, so one of my parents is a demon or a devil.
We'll keep that in mind.
And in this case, I'm picking my mother.
Whatever we do. So as soon as everybody else gets back, we'll be all right. But
And of course, I'll leave it totally up to you, her position in the hierarchy.
well, the
all
only thing
that.
I'm gonna put something in the chat here, Jared. Hi, Amanda. Welcome back. With your little ears.
My little ears isn't working.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, the little glowy light isn't working.
Well, that's weird.
I don't know.
And I have a candle. I'm kind of glowy.
Oh no, I got like 5 lights on me. I'm very glowy, but wait,
Yeah. You fiddled with the thing. That's kind of fun. So anyway, yeah. Like I was saying to Jaron, I had a whole thing planned out with Tuffany, and I wasn't expecting Jaron to try to be a demon hunter. So that kind of threw me off. So that whole scene was kind of ad-libbed. So hopefully we'll get. So Tuffany, what did you expect? Or Yvonne, sorry.
You know what? I was so used to, I had that name Tuffany for so long for my online games. I got used to people calling me that, so not a biggie. What I expected was pretty much what I was telling you, what was it, yesterday? You know, I was going to do this spell and this spell and this spell, and hopefully it was all going to work out. And then it went the way it did. And I was just telling my husband, I said, well, that was a whole lot easier than I expected, except now we have a wayward demon.
Yeah, you know, everything we do has consequences. There wouldn't have been a wayward demon, but y'all can thank Jared for that one.
It just makes it more interesting.
Well, good.
Yeah, and I actually intended not to be really active other than laying the side on her and just being there to be a vessel for this demon to go into.
Well,
My biggest fear.
And
I'm sorry
then,
to interrupt,
as soon as Drake said, "What are you trying to do?" I'm like, "Oh, great."
well, no, because it was just like I said, it's very choppy. A lot of times when you're talking, it's very choppy, and I can't make out everything that you're saying. So I was just trying to make sure of what you're doing, but not a big deal. We're all back. Ty, are you good to go? All right, Amanda, you good?
Let's do it.
All right, Jaron smoking cancer sticks. He's good. Yvonne, you ready?
I am. Oh, and I want to apologize. I keep yawning. I take medication that makes me a little sleepy, so I'm sorry about that. I'll try not to yawn too much.
You're fired.
Okay, I'm out.
Yeah, that's the way we'll do it. In fact, the demon ate your soul, and you are liquefied on the floor.
Well, dang. See, that really didn't go the way I expected.
So, as coming back, you know, the lights in this home have come back on. The priest has the demon in kind of gaseous ethereal form has passed through Father Elijah and out of the place. And he is now, Father Elijah is now passed out on the porch at the feet of Jason Kit. And the crowd is just in awe, like unsure of what's going on. So what would Jason Kit be thinking or doing with this guy?
I almost imagine he falls at the door, like, as I'm mid-sentence, like, everything's okay. Father Elijah is taking care of it. Everything is going to be fine. And then, like, the door opens and he falls out on the ground. And I'm, like, looking at him. And I look back at the group. And I kind of, at this point, like, consign myself and, like, just shake my head and put my hand over my face.
What about Kit?
What's wrong with him? Is he moving? Perception check to see, or medical check, up to you.
Nah, you would know. I mean, you would see that he's breathing. Kind of the dust on the floor, you could see it getting blown as he's breathing out. So he would be alive, but he's certainly really not moving. He's unconscious on the ground right now.
She uses her mage hand to poke at him. Are you okay? What's wrong with you?
After a few moments, you see him just kind of reach back wherever you're poking him. He's like, yeah, I'm fine. And he just kind of slowly gets up to one knee and, you know, just kind of tries to shake it off. And he's visibly dazed. He's visibly, you know, exhausted.
You had everything under control. What happened?
Your demon.
My demon.
Your friend.
Oh, horns.
He says, if he had just let us pray, that demon would not have escaped. And
Where
now
do you
he's
think
free.
here? I don't see him anywhere.
That's the problem, dear. You don't see him anywhere. So he could be anywhere or everywhere.
Oh, no. Or anyone.
He says,
I'm
I
guessing.
just need to get back. I need to get back to the temple. I need to he slowly just kind of gets to both of his feet and just starts walking back towards the temple. People who try to help him, he just kind of waves them away. And he begins to walk back towards the temple.
Is there a way to detect the demon? She yells at his back. I guess not.
And as he's walking even further away, the one thing you do notice, Kit, is that a single raven comes and lands on his shoulder. And you see him pause and turn his head. And you see him nod. And because of your feet observant, you can read his lips when he speaks to the raven. And you can see that he's saying, that is the plan. You can see him saying, just a few more hours. And you can see him saying, tell the master. And then the raven flies off of his shoulder and he continues to walk. As he walked out, all of the other villagers notice all these other ravens. There's even more now, and they keep coming. They're covering every roof, every outcropping. They're filling the trees. And now it is completely dark. It is night. The only light is from the festival colors, the oranges and the reds. The wind begins to pick up that cool autumn air, brings a chill. And the crowd begins to disperse. Good.
Okay. I'm gonna say, Big Brother. He said that was the plan, and that's what the master wanted. When do priests have masters?
And my expression just darkens hearing this. I thought that there was something up with him, but apparently what I thought was up with him might not have always been what I thought might not have been. And I'm kind of staring at him, glaring, just like not glaring, but staring daggers into this guy's back. That he's obviously hiding something. And knowing Kit and her skill with being stealthy, I say, like looking over at her, can you follow him?
Of course.
And I nod, and I kind of just tap my head, and I tap hers, and I use message, and say, I'm right here. Respond with what happens.
Okay.
Okay.
And so I go into the shadows and sneak as sneakily as possible. So stealth rolls or
Yeah, let's go with stealth for now.
okay. Or do you explain what I'm seeing? What do I get to hide behind?
Well, I think right now he would only be about 50 feet away and probably at the bottom of the steps to the temple. As you walk up, you would notice, a few stained glass windows. You cannot see the colors right now as it is dark and there's no light on the inside. You notice the door on the side that he came out of initially. And really, the only thing between you and there is a whole bunch of large headstones and tombstones that you would have to go through the graveyard in order to kind of hide and stealthily go up. If you went directly in the line that he is, there's nothing between you and that temple.
Okay. So I am going to dexterously roll and tumble between the gravestones. Let's see what my first check looks like.
Did you just say dexterily?
Yes.
You mean dexterously?
So it's close enough.
Dexterily.
That's a word.
Okay.
I coined it.
She's just playing her character. I mean, she's like, what, like 14, 15?
Copyright.
That's right.
Copyright dexterily for Kit. All right. Yeah. Give me a dex roll. Or
Okay.
a stealth roll, excuse me.
It's a 32.
A 32.
That's right. Double proficiency. I get a 9 plus 20.
Wow. Yeah, you become one with the night. You are darkness itself. Basically, you are a effing ninja, and you can do whatever you want, at least in the graveyard. Would you be trying to get... You would see Father Elijah slowly walk up the stairs, obviously tired, and you would see him open those front doors and slam them shut. You would also hear a lock go to those front doors.
Okay. I would look for another opening to get into the house. Any stained glass windows look like they can open, or are they all like stained glass shut?
They're all pretty well stained glass shut. From this side, the only thing you can see is that door that he came out of initially when you guys were in the graveyard.
Okay. So I'm going to try to creep around the house. Another stealth check?
Sure. Good. Hopefully not a 32.
Okay. That was 35.
How are you rolling 35s?
It's double proficiency. It's a 9. Yeah. I don't know.
You just add a 9
Oh
to
yeah,
your
you're
roll.
right. That doesn't make any sense, does it?
No. Even a 32, I'm like, that's impossible.
16 plus 9. What's
There you
that?
go. 24.
That makes more sense.
Okay. That you're still good. Sorry. It was just, normally I just kind of roll with it, but that's a bit much. If somebody could look up the level 1 exhaustion while we're doing this, Ty or Jaren, for Yvonne, and just put it in chat for her. Around the back, you do notice it's a staircase that comes off the back of the church, and it goes down There's a set of doors that seem to go into the temple or church, and then a set of stairs, and a set of doors that almost look like they go into some type of a stone, almost a crypt.
Okay. Set of stairs that go into a...
They basically go down into the ground. This is still attached to the graveyard. It looks like it's a tomb or a crypt or something along those lines. And the other one goes up to another set of small doors at the back of the temple.
Does messenger work? Is it one way or two way, Jace? Your spell message.
It is. You can respond to me. If I send you a message, you can respond back to me in the same amount of words. So I believe it's hold on, let me check how many words. I believe it's like 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
There's a crypt. That's all I say.
Okay. And Jace, what would you be when you hear that? What would you be doing?
So I've been kind of following at a distance. I would say not a pretty good distance, just enough that I can see her and that I can see him go into the building. So I'm like maybe like 100 feet off, 120, like just a really good distance away.
Okay.
And I'm just kind of watching all of this go down. I watch him go in. I watch her kind of sneak around the back, and then I get this back. Like there's a crypt, and I kind of just frown a bit hearing this, and I send a message to Jaren and Tuffany, and I say, "We are back at the temple. Come quietly and quickly." And I will make my way stealthily as I can over to her. So I'll go up as close as I dare stealthily, and then I'm going to misty step to the side of the crypt, the side of the temple where there's no windows.
Okay. That's fine. I can let you do that. That's cool. Jaren and Tuffany, you guys just going to go over there? Neither of you two are particularly stealthy.
Jim definitely would be visibly shaken. Haven't dealt with demons like this before, and never having one slip from his grasp so easily. He just kind of aches his head, listens to the message, and almost grimly and silently just starts walking towards the temple.
What about Tuffany?
Oh, goodness. Oh, okay. That was weird. Can you still see me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my computer decided to do something strange. I'm heading
It's the
over.
demon.
I guess it is. So I'm just, I'm going with Jaren, slowly heading our way over to the temple.
Okay. And you guys really can get over there without incident. You meet Kit and Jace kind of at the doorway, heading down into the ground, into what you think would be a crypt. What would you guys like to do? It's just a big graveyard, this temple, and this crypt. Which direction would you like to go? Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Let's see. Other than the crypt, there's nothing else. There's not like a back door.
Well, as I said, there's stairs going, a back door, a small set of back doors going back into the temple. Like, yes, it's basically a back door. And then close to that is a set of stairs going down into a crypt.
So the evil crypt or the stairs. Is there anybody else inside the temple with him, or he would be by himself?
The only thing you guys saw was him, and you heard him lock the door behind him.
Jim and would walk over to position himself like right between the crypt's case and the temple, and he would invoke divine sense, looking for a fiendish presence besides himself.
Okay. You honestly aren't sure. You feel something, but it's either too far away or too weak for you to pinpoint. But you know something, but it almost feels like it's everywhere in little bit amounts. It just doesn't seem normal to you. Something seems off, but you can't pinpoint it.
Jevin would relate this to the group and say, that's not normal. Or normally there's a focal point, even if they're disembodied.
And Kit?
Well, let's go through the crypt. I guess. Do you guys
Jace?
want to challenge to the crypt, or do we just want to, like, you know, we could probably just storm the place?
I kind of look at her and I say, people say that they keep their skeletons in their closets. Well, I think a crypt is probably a better place to look. And I kind of give her a wink and walk over to the edge of the cellar door, this crypt door. I'm guessing it's locked, right?
You can check it out, sure.
Yeah, like I'll very carefully try and lift it, like to open it.
It is absolutely locked.
Is there even like a crack that I can see in down there?
No, it's a heavy stone and iron, and it does have a keyhole, so there would be a key to it.
Probably open it with my thieves' tools, but you know, he's just one man. Are you sure we don't want to just, I don't know, go through the front door or through the other door and see what he's doing instead of going through the spooky crypt?
Jevin laughs as she said, as spooky, and looks at Kit and says, if you were 100 years older, I would have thought you were asking me on a date. And he tries to laugh and make it pleasant. And this is like the only time he's joked around. And I think Kit, being pretty perceptive, would definitely see that there's something really bugging him.
Okay.
Okay, so just what happened? You guys tried to just, it was Sarah the little girl okay? What happened back there? Demon came out, preacher guy like fell on the ground, and then...
Jevin said, as I got the demon out, like I said I would, but it was meant for me to become the vessel. And at the last moment, my fear took hold of me, and I was too weak.
Mm-hmm. And a tiefling as a vessel for another demon would have been a good idea? Versus the small
Absolutely
child?
no.
He smiles, says, better than the child. At least you all would have had an opportunity to slay me. And the demon within.
They still might.
Big brother, do you want to go through the crypt or do we want to go through the door?
So I want to try something, Drake.
Okay.
If that's okay with you. So I have an ability as a wizard of the School of Conjuration that I can create an inanimate object.
Mm-hmm.
I want to try and create a key to match the hole to the crypt.
You wouldn't know what the inner workings of that lock are. You wouldn't have that knowledge to because keys are made in certain ways in certain forms. Unless you created that lock, you wouldn't know. I mean, you can try. I'll let you roll. If you roll a natural 20, I'll let you do it.
Yeah.
But I think just you wouldn't have the knowledge to create that specific key.
I would kind of just turn to Kit, knowing that she has a very particular set of skills.
Okay.
And say, "Can you open this?"
I do have double proficiency in lockpick. So she takes her bump key out and she just boop, boop.
And she rolls a 72.
Probably.
Okay, so you want to use your thieves' tools and see if you
Yeah.
can get in with sleight of hand?
Yep.
Okay, give me a sleight of hand roll then.
Okay. So it's a 13 plus 3? No. Yeah. Oh, what's my bonus on that? I think my sheet's right.
That sounds about right to have a 3.
No, it's 6.
Oh, 6, okay.
Sleight of hand is 6, yeah.
Okay. So you kind of fiddle with this. You don't hear it click. It doesn't feel like you've got it. And you almost give up. You take your hand off of the key. And as you do that and you slowly stand up and you're about to tell everyone, I'm sorry, it didn't work, that door slowly, very slowly swings open.
Haha, guess it worked after all. Oh.
And from this crypt, this kind of smell emanates out. It's the smell of sulfur and brimstone, and just that harsh kind of acrid scent. Familiar to Jeremy. It's dark. It's darkened. There is no light on the inside. The only thing you notice when this door swings open is that smell. What would the four of you like to do?
Well, brimstone probably isn't a good smell. I don't know what that is, but I'm guessing sulfuric eggs are not good, right, guys?
Jimmy shakes his head no, says it's in there.
So do we think the Mr. Priestman is keeping demons here, and that's why it smells like that? Or do we think he's releasing them from here?
Either way, that would explain why there's no light on the temple.
So do we think he's trying to help or hinder? Or
At this point, it's very hard to determine. We really need to go and figure this out. Not my first choice, but maybe a necessary course of action.
should we just, I don't know, try the back door and then just interrogate the priest?
Who's to say the priest isn't down here at this point?
I don't know if I really want to go in the crypt, brother. It could be very scary.
Kind of just like look at her and give her a reassuring look. Kind of sizing up the situation, looking back at the crypt and looking at her other two companions and saying, well, it doesn't hurt to check upstairs first.
And she puts her night vision goggles on because she's actually afraid of the dark. And her brother made them for her. And he knows that.
Jimmy just kind of nods, says, I'll follow your lead. But really, you're scared of a little crypt? You travel with me.
Yes, I'm a conundrum. I'm a rogue that is afraid of the dark.
So would you guys, that crypt door is open. You have the smell. Where are you going to go in the crypt? Are you not? What are y'all going to do? You have to make a decision.
Okay.
I just look at Kit, who's obviously expressing a desire to not go into the crypt, and being the overprotective older brother that I am, I kind of said, well, we'll check out upstairs first. And I kind of nod towards the door, which I walk up and I check, is it locked again also?
You walk up and you put your hand on, this is a knob actually.
Okay.
And the knob turns freely and the door opens out towards you, revealing what looks to be kind of like a, they would refer to it as like an antechamber or an antechamber at the back of this temple. kind of a separate room from everything else.
And the fact that it's so easy to get in the front door in the back door, like he locked the front and didn't lock the back, immediately puts Jace on edge.
Okay.
So I just kind of frown, like really, like just this deep frown. And I kind of look over my shoulder and shrug at the group. And I take a step into the room. Pray for me, guys.
As you walk in there, the same odor that you smelled when the crypt door opened hits your nostrils. Except now it's stronger. It's not musty like it was in the crypt. It's stronger. It almost smells fresh.
Can I identify this odor with anything from the book that I have?
Give me a I'd say just give me a roll. Just give me a roll. I'll figure out.
That's an 8
advantage.
on the dice. With advantage?
With advantage.
Okay, well, a 10 on the dice then.
You would know that this smell, this kind of sulfur and brimstone burning smell, is some type of an infernal being, or something from the 9 hells, something that has to do with that type of stuff. You don't recall, you remember reading something about it, but you just can't put your finger on it. But you know that the only things that emanate this type of odor are infernal type beings or hellish beings.
Yeah, and I lean back, just getting hit by this wave of just sulfuric smell, and say we've definitely got a devil on our hands.
Do we have the right stuff for a demon devil?
Do we?
I know nothing of these things. I'm sorry.
I say we'll deal with it in stride. I think we can take care of it, though.
How does... You're a demon. And she looks at your character, Darren.
It kind of look urgent, say half demon, and then looks over at Tiffany. He says, perhaps I should have had more faith in life itself.
Well, perhaps if we survive this, you will be able to have that faith.
How do we trap a demon? How do we kill one? You're a demon. How do you die? Half a demon? What kills half demons?
Other demons, other devils, perhaps even angels and divas.
And
okay.
As you guys do this, you hear a very low kind of sobbing and crying. Mm-hmm. This antechamber in the back is probably 20 feet by 20 feet, and there's a door leading out to the front of this temple. The door is closed, but beyond that door, you just hear a faint
Does that sound like it's coming from a man, a woman, a child?
It sounds like a woman.
Jace, letting his brash nature get the better of him, kind of pushes the door open the rest of the way and rushes back into the chapel.
And as you do, not giving your comrades any time to figure anything else out, you open up the door, and it's probably 10 feet away from the altar of this temple. On top of this altar is a large yellow gem, probably the size of a human fist, just sitting there, elegantly kind of displayed with gold kind of wrapped around it. And you see on the altar, just because they kind of catch the little bit of light that's there, small chips off of this gem to the side. And in front of it, you see Father Elijah kind of, for lack of a better phrase, unconscious and sort of bent over the front part of this altar. Guys, please mute your mics, whoever's making the noise. And you, next to Father Elijah, you see a spectral white female, it looks to be, in a dress. Beautiful. You would know this to look like an elf, Jace. She floats around him, and you just hear her just... and you hear her as she stops and she looks up at you, and she says, "So sad."
I just stop, and I'm just staring at her, kind of trying to figure out this situation. Father Elijah bent over the altar, just passed out, unconscious. The person who I thought was going to be the antagonist of this situation, in this passed out stupor, and this strange, beautiful elven woman just almost mockingly crying is what it seems like to Jace. And he just stops. He's frozen. He doesn't understand what's going on.
And Kit, what would Kit be doing? Would she be with him?
Yeah, she would be with them, and she would try to do could she try to do an insight check to see what kind of, if the lady means it mockingly or if she means it and like she genuinely feels sad for him.
Yeah, okay. Give me an insight check.
That's 110.
Awesome.
No? Okay.
You failed the check.
Insight. Alrighty. Actually, it was a natural 20.
Seriously?
Yeah, for real.
Your intuition says that she does think that this is sad, but there's something else, something you can't put your finger on. Maybe there's more to it than she's just sad. But it almost seems almost funny to her. Something in her voice, even though it's sad, it seems kind of joking and funny to her that he is sad. And what about Jaren and Tuffany? Would you guys go out too, or hang back, or what?
I think Jaren would be bringing up kind of the group at this point.
Okay. And Tuffany?
And Tuffany, just for the sake of, whom she is going to be right behind Kit, trying to figure out, what is going on, because, she's not going to be left outside by herself at this point. She's going to go with the group.
Okay. So you're all kind of standing there between the altar and this creature. And the creature slowly floats over to Kit. And she says, "Good?
Okay, go ahead."
No, what were you going to say?
I was actually going to cast protection from evil and good on myself.
Okay.
But go ahead.
She would look at you. She would come over probably 3 or 4 feet away, and she would look you from head to toe, and she said, "You, my dear, you're sad too. Who have you lost?"
What is it to you? And are you happy that I'm sad, or are you sad that I'm sad? I cannot tell.
She disregards your question, and she looks over at Jace. "You too have lost." And she goes down the line, and steadily, just this monotone kind of very sweet voice, just, "Oh, all of you have lost. That's sad." And she floats back to more away from you, probably 15 feet away now. And she turns. And this beautiful kind of glowing white spectral, white dress and everything, looks at all of you, smiles. And in that moment, all of the beauty and all of the gracefulness leaves, and her face kind of morphs into this grotesque fanged creature. The hair kind of just goes wavy all up over the place as if it's being blown by wind. And she looks at you and says, "Sadness, now die." Roll initiative. Okay, and just put in the chat, guys. I have to put my light on because I can't see. All right. I need Amanda and Tuffany, please. Put your...
what was my... didn't I get like an improved initiative?
At level, you should have whatever you roll, add 4 to it. Because I almost had the same stats on my character yesterday.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
Okay.
whatever you roll, add 4 to it. And Yvonne? Okay. So Jaren is going to be able to act first here. What would you like to do, Jaren?
Jiven's a bit taken back. Even though he smelled the sulfur and kind of sensed the presence when he first walked into the room, it was almost as if this room wasn't part of what he was sensing. And so I think he would grip his side tightly, and he would step towards the front end of the group, and meditate an action for if this thing comes at any of his party members.
Okay. Ty, what would Jace do?
So I'm gonna roll a wisdom save against being feared.
I was going to have you guys do that in just a moment, all of you.
Oh, okay.
So don't do that yet.
Well, I won't do that yet then. I look at this creature and I kind of stumble away from it as it changes before my eyes. And the first thing I do is I want to know my enemy. So I immediately grab the book and I just start like trying to remember. I'm gonna like do like, if it's all right with you, for my action, I want to do an investigation.
Sure. Roll with advantage because it's a creature.
So that would be a 17 total.
You know that this creature is most well known as a banshee, and that its cries can madden people. They can scare you. They can basically get inside your mind. And you know that the legend of these creatures comes from elves that were blessed with eternal beauty and life. And they squandered it and did nothing for others, just hurt themselves. So now they wander the earth for eternity, destroying all things that have beauty.
I kind of like read this and I look up at the group and I say, this is a banshee. Careful, cover your ears, protect yourself. Its screams are deadly. And if it's all right with you, I can't prep a ready to action, but at the very least, I'd like to try and cover my ears in some way if it does end up screaming.
Sure. That's not a problem. Next is going to be Kit. What would Kit like to do?
Cast protection from evil and good. So, yes. So it's let's see. Protection grants several benefits. Creatures of those types have disadvantage on attack rolls against that target. The target also can't be charmed, frightened, or possessed by them. The target is already charmed, frightened, or possessed creature. Okay, I'm not possessed yet, so we're good.
Yep. All right, cool. And Tuffany.
So having heard that this is a banshee, I'm going to also place my hands over my ears and see if that helps.
Okay. With that, everyone except for Kit, please give me a wisdom save. Roll me a wisdom save. I need you to roll 13.
As this goes up, being a paladin, I have over protection, and I would be within 10 feet of everyone.
Okay.
So they would all receive a +1
Okay.
from my charisma modifier.
Sweet. Then everyone add +1 to your roll.
That makes me succeed. Then I had a 12.
Awesome. What about Tiffany?
Well, let's see. If that was a +1, that would have been a 14, but you said I'm at a disadvantage, so I'm not, how much do I take off for a disadvantage?
No, you just roll again, and you roll twice, and whichever's lower.
Oh, lucky me. Oh my God, you would have to say that. 7.
7. Okay. What about you, Jaren?
13 exactly.
Okay. Then everyone is good except for Tiffany. Tiffany, you are frightened for the next basically 10 rounds or 1 minute. I will, Ty, if you could put that in chat for her, as far as what she can and can't do when she is frightened. But this creature will attack. The closest person to her is going to be Jaren, and she is going to extend this kind of clawed, kind of spindly arm, and she is going to attack you. And as her, okay, she rolled a 17. What's your AC, Jaren?
17.
Oh, cool. So as she just kind of claws you with this, and she actually grabs onto your shoulder, and you feel kind of this life sort of drain out of you, and you take 9 necrotic damage as this hand grabs and it kind of sucks out some of your life force as she releases. Next up is going to be Jaren. What would you like to do? You're muted, dude.
Yep. I'm gonna first off, I'll start cursing in infernal and use my bonus action to put a vow of enmity on the banshee.
I'm sorry?
I'm gonna use bonus action for vow of enmity.
Okay.
It basically just gives me advantage to hit for 1 minute.
Okay.
And it's a bonus action.
Okay.
I will use my regular turn along with my extra attack to swing twice at this banshee.
Okay. What you got?
That's 1d10. 10.
Hello? Okay. Yeah, you don't hit a damn thing. As you're trying to hit, she just, this kind of etherealness, your strikes just go right through her as kind of the smoke and clouds kind of just kind of wish away as you do it. But one thing that it does cause her to do, it causes her to take a few, she kind of starts to float back, kind of between the pews of this temple, and she starts kind of slowly backing up towards the door. Ty, it's your turn.
So as she starts to back away from Jaren, our big tiefling, I kind of step to the side, knowing that this creature is ethereal and my magic will have effect on it. Mm-hmm. And I almost imagine it's like kind of like backing away, and it sees me step to the side, and crackling energy fills my hand, and I lock eyes with it, and it locks eyes with me, and I'm going to cast lightning bolt at it. So it needs to make a dex save,
okay,
which would be DC 15.
She rolled a 12. It hits.
Okay. So she'll take full damage from this then?
Okay. Damn. How many dice you rolling, boy?
You got to do it's 8d6 lightning damage.
Okay.
So I deal a total of 28.
Okay. And she is resistant to lightning damage, so you're actually doing 14.
Okay. All right. So this lightning kind of just streaks from the palm of my hand towards her, crackling and barely going past the side of Jaren's head. It passes into the body, kind of refracts around a bit, almost like a crystal, and then splays out in a brilliant, almost light show as it doesn't take full damage from it.
Awesome. Awesome. What about Kit?
Kit tries to tumble. What she wants to do is stealthily tumble and hide behind a pew so she can get the sneak attack in for her next turn.
Well, she's actually focused on the guy that just shot the lightning at her, and he is within 5 feet of her, so you could actually do your sneak attack from wherever you are.
Okay. In that case, Kit jumps onto a pew and then jumps off the back, and then she just sneaks attack with the rapier, and she just let's see if she hits. And oh yeah, she's gonna make it the green rapier.
Gotcha. Okay.
So okay, so it's a 13. Damn.
Not actually, that actually hits.
Oh, sweet.
So what does this look like as this rapier kind of bathed in green flame? Just
bathed in green, and then she just slashes against the back of the Banshee's back. I'm guessing black blood spurts across the area.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Banshee kind of wails in pain, but not anything that hurts anybody. But she very quickly uses her action here to get. She is just about her back to those front doors, and she is just backed up from you. At this point, she's probably about 40 feet away from you guys, and is very quickly seems like trying to get out of this temple. Tuffany, what would you like to do?
Well, at this point, I can't get anywhere close to her. So can I get close to Father Elijah?
Yes, you can.
I would like to check on him to see if he's alive or not at this point.
He is alive. He absolutely is alive. But very kind of his breathing is just kind of slowed and unconscious, but it's pretty obvious that he's pretty hurt. Not so much physically, but it's obvious to you that some damage has been done to him.
Okay.
Would you like to do anything to him, or just see if he's...
I think at this point, what I think I would like to do is, let's see here. I'd like to cast a healing word on him to see if that helps him out a little bit.
Sure. How much can it heal?
Ooh, hold on. Let me get to the right page here.
Okay.
It heals. Okay, here it is. Let's see. 1d4 plus spell casting ability modifier. So,
okay.
Let's see.
So roll for me.
Okay. 2 and so 5.
So as you kind of cast the spell on Father Elijah, you kind of see this kind of yellow, light come out of your hand and go into his, and you see his eyes kind of flicker open, and he just kind of looks at you and he says, thank you. I thought I was gone. And he slowly kind of stands up and he goes back towards facing the Banshee at the back of the temple, and he looks at you and he says, we must help. We need to get over there. And that is going to be your turn. Now the Banshee at her turn will actually turn and unlatch the door and push it open. She will slowly float out backwards and down the stairs, probably 15 feet outside, maybe 30 feet from the rest of you. And that is going to be her turn. She is just going to continue to back out. And as that happens, this kind of glowing spectral spirit, the townspeople can see it, and they slowly kind of meander over, trying to figure out what's going on. This is very odd. They don't know what it is, what's going on, but everyone in that town, that group that was at the residence when Sarah made all those noises, is slowly walking over, dozens of children and parents.
Do we get a tackle opportunity on that since she left my square?
Sure. Why don't you do that?
So then she can come back and kill us?
Either way, she's outside, so because she was at the door before. So yeah, if you want your attacks of opportunity, that's perfectly fine. Let's see. We'll just we'll give everybody a turn. So Amanda, why don't you go first?
Okay, again, I'm going to use my rapier, and I'm going... Actually, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to use my rapier again and see if I can hit her.
Okay, go ahead.
15.
That hits.
Awesome. So she takes her rapier, and so she hit her the first time, and then she saw that she was backing away, and she's like, not so fast. Boom! And she hits her across the side, across her belly.
Okay.
Her white dress, or white gray dress, I guess, and she's kind of a banshee thing, is now covered with oozing black blood, spilling down the front of her. Do me do the damage on it, or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So it's 6.
Okay, not a problem. Let's see. I'm going to give Ty the next attack here.
So I'm not going to take an attack. What I'm going to do, if it's all right with you, if I see these doors open and she's backing away, I use thaumaturgy on myself and scream at the townspeople with a voice 3 times louder than my own to stay back, to stay away from this creature.
Okay. Hearing this kind of booming voice, the townspeople pause. They're all kind of halfway there at this point, but you can hear it, and they all kind of pause where they are. And they do not get any closer. Jaren.
Jim would take his attack. Nope. Yeah, wrong button. I imagine at this point he's trying to draw all the sides of it out, and it just harmlessly passing straight through her.
Okay. And I would assume that Tuffany and Father Elijah are going to kind of bring up the back, kind of bring up the rear, trying to get closer.
Well, I can only get so close because I guess I'm still in fear of her.
Yeah, but the fear doesn't have anything to do. You would kind of be hanging back, but Father Elijah would be getting closer, and she would continue to use her movement to slowly, as this kind of black, blood is dripping to the ground, she'll pause at the bottom of the steps to this temple, and you will hear a sound that none of you have ever heard before. That this high-pitched shriek, that the first thing that you guys all notice is the stained glass windows in all of in the temple bust out, just pop, pop, pop. And then the glass in every home and every store in the town shatters. And along with that, as this wail continues, every child that had that pendant on them, that gem explodes. And I need all of you to give me give me a wisdom save.
They would still have the +1.
Yep. Guys, just put it in chat, please.
So, okay. I thought you meant like the kids make a save because of the stone break. Okay, so everyone make one.
Everyone.
All right.
This is a tough one. So.
Well, that's gonna hurt, I think.
I'm just afraid for Amanda having one of those necklaces on.
Okay, so all of you actually failed this check, even the 19. The first thing you see as these pendants burst is all of those children fall to the ground. You see their parents fall to the ground, and slowly, all of you feel all of the strength and energy within your bodies go away, and every one of you falls where you are and falls unconscious as your eyes just slowly close and the light of the festivals fade from your eyes. A while passes. None of you know how long it's been, but it's still dark. Jace is the first one to open his eyes slowly, just fuzzy in the head. Jace, you notice everyone around you on the ground. You notice all the townsfolk still unconscious, except every child that was there is no longer there. You look back to your companions. Your companions are still unconscious. They're slowly kind of, maybe opening their eyes and stirring a little bit, but they're still on the ground. The other thing you notice that the last thing you saw was Father Elijah coming down the steps of the temple to meet you guys. He's not there either. And as you guys slowly become more aware, off in the distance, you hear this kind of subtle chanting with words that you don't know. And this is what all of you hear as you come to your senses. And this is a distant sound. And none of you know what it means. But you do see from behind the temple specters and spirits rising from the graveyard and slowly moving up and floating towards the other side of town. You notice the ravens all have now taken wing and are all heading towards the other side of town. These spirits are flying much higher than you can reach, and you see a faint light near the pumpkin patch. As the four of you awake, what would you like to do?
Oh, what happened? The kid looks around, dazed. Are we inside the temple still, or are we outside the temple?
You're outside on the ground or on the stairs.
Around the stairs in front of the pumpkin patch?
No, you're out. The pumpkin patch is in the other side of town.
Okay. So, did that thing just hurt us? What happened to my necklace? It shattered.
Yeah, so I think that the first thing Jace would do is look back, like where Kit had fallen, and seeing that she was still there, he would kind of breathe out, like in relief, standing to his feet and looking about for the children, not there, but hearing this strange chanting and saying, I don't know. Looking back over at Kit, but I've got a bad feeling about this.
And what about Jaren and Tuffany?
Jimmy kind of look over at Kit, says, "Hurt isn't the word for it, child. We almost died. And it appears that the children have already passed on. Perhaps they never were what we thought. Perhaps they were already spirits."
And what about Tuffany?
Well, having heard this noise coming from the distance, and of course, you know, being a curious halfling, I'm going to start heading that way. Because, you know, one, I'm noticing the children are gone. So I've, you know, put two and two together. I'm going to presume that they might be in that direction. So, you know, say something to my companions, the fact of, look, the children are not here. There's a noise coming from, I would presume, the other side of town. We need to head that way and go towards danger, not away. So are you coming with me?
She closes her eyes and concentrates. Surprise, what do you see?
And Surprise would see that this faint light was glowing from just about the center of the pumpkin patch, that all of the ravens have begun to circle in the sky around it, that there seems to be people in the patch, but can't really get out the details, and that those spirits too are circling low inside of the pumpkin patch, and that chanting is coming from that area.
I see people circling the pumpkin patch and chanting in that area, just like you said. Do you think we should stop the chanting? Do you think it's... I don't know. Where's the Banshee? Is she over by them?
The Banshee's nowhere to be seen.
Kind of glance at Kit. Well, it's certainly not good. We should probably try and stop it. And I glance up towards the moon.
And what you notice is a full moon with just an edge that is not red yet. It is not a full blood moon yet, but very soon.
Expression darkening. I don't even wait to see what everyone else wants to do. I just like Tuffany's going, I just start sprinting in the direction of the pumpkin patch.
Okay.
Hey, wait up, big brother. And Kit trails behind you.
Okay. Jaren, I'm going to assume that you're going to go with him.
Yeah, almost reluctantly, he just would shake his head and follow after.
Okay. Well, as you guys get closer and closer, again, that sound just gets louder, louder and louder, louder and louder. And as you get closer, a figure appears just slightly lit up by the spiritual magic that is surrounding it. The scarecrow that you remember seeing when you first came here. That scarecrow's gone. It looks to all of you that Father Elijah has taken its place. He is beaten, he is bloody, and he looks to be dead. Surrounding this scarecrow are all of the children from this town. They're standing in a perfect circle. All of their eyes are glazed over white, like Sarah's were earlier in the night. They continue to chant. They continue to ignore you as you get closer. The ravens continue to circle. The spirits continue to circle. And then, as you just probably 30 feet away, Father Elijah's eyes open. And he looks at you, Tuffany, and he says, "Please, Help me. Don't let them use me. Get me down.
I will look at Father Elijah and I will say, we will do what we can. We just have to make our way there first. Please hang on. No pun intended.
Okay. And you guys get closer. And like I said, you're about 30 feet away. You can get to where he is mounted, basically, in one action. What would the three of you like to do?
Okay, so he's surrounded by children, correct?
Correct.
And they're all chanting?
Yes.
And they're holding weapons or not holding weapons?
They are not holding weapons. They are just sit there with their eyes glazed over, just chanting. The ravens and the spirits are both circling high above.
Okay, so let's see. What can we disrupt things with?
I've got a question. Do the ravens look like they're a pretty big part of the spell, like in general? Like whatever's going on here? Are they like crucial?
I don't think you would know. You would just be kind of in awe of the scale of what's going on. I mean, you have hundreds of ravens. You have hundreds of spirits coming from that graveyard into this kind of like maelstrom of spiritual energy, just kind of in a vortex above this, above Father Elijah. And this circle of children.
I cast grease on the ground. And a 10-foot, yes, 10-foot centered on a point. So I cast grease on part of the children where they're standing.
Okay.
What's the area that they're standing on? How big is the circle?
I'd say probably 20 feet. 20 feet around, there's probably 30 children. You do cast grease. But each of these children have their feet firmly planted. For right now, the grease doesn't have any effect because they're not trying to move. What would Jace do and what would Jaren do?
Now I wish I took silence. All right, well, I guess figuring that the kids are at least evoking the spell, what I'll do is I'll try and, I guess, stop them. I'll cast web. And what I'm going to do is kind of try and use it almost like a net to restrain them, maybe stop them. Basically get somebody else to help me and like hold the web between the two of us.
I think looking over Javen's abilities, almost everything he has is made to damage. These are still children, so he would just look at this web image and kind of go over and start tugging on it to try and assist.
I'm sorry, you're going to tug on what, Jaren?
On the web to help use the web to restrain the kids.
Okay. You can absolutely try to do that. Let's see. Give me a strength check, Jace.
Oh, okay, that's not that bad. What's my... Is it just flat strength or athletics?
Flat strength.
Okay, never mind. So I don't have a plus. So 14 then.
You and Jaren kind of grab this, and kind of like Kit found out, the children seem to be almost supernaturally planted where they are. You can cover them with the web, but all they're doing is standing there and chanting. They're not trying to move, and you cannot move them. You can get between them, but you cannot move them. It's almost like they're frozen there by some force that you're not aware of.
So they're basically like fence posts, like planted here. Like we
Correct.
can't. Okay. Interesting.
So, Father Elijah again says, "Stop messing with the children and get me down."
I go to get him down.
He's probably 5 feet off of the ground is where his feet would be. He is held on basically a scarecrow post, so it's almost like a crucifix. He is sitting on there. How would you guys like to get him down?
Kind of yell for somebody to come over and help me, and I pull out this. You can barely even call it a knife. It looks like maybe like a letter opener more than a knife. And I kind of just start sawing at these the ropes that are holding him up.
There's ropes that are holding him up at his shoulders, but by his feet, there's just one small rope. You could easily cut that one, but you would need to either find a way to get up there or to cut the post down in order to get him down.
Okay, so how far up is he on the post?
His feet are about 5 feet. He's about 5.5 feet tall, so about 10 feet up.
Evan just looks over at his side. I reaches straight up, arm's length, and
So
himself being almost 6 feet tall, and slices the ropes.
Okay.
The size is a 10-foot reach.
Okay.
I hate to mention it, but there's grease on the ground, so everybody probably needs to make unless you want to stand back.
Well, you said that you were going to do it around the children. If you centered it around the scarecrow, it wouldn't have touched the children.
Okay. All right.
So,
it's on the kids. Okay.
Yeah, it's on kind of the back end of the kids. Jaren, you can get one of the ropes, but he's still being held up by one. Kit, what would you like to do?
I give somebody my rapier because I won't be able to reach the ropes, and go ahead and saw, because unless somebody wants, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna use burning hands to burn the ropes. It's gonna make a 15-foot cone. So.
Okay. As you do that, not only do the ropes burn, but you actually set Father Elijah on fire.
Good job.
He's going to take some fire damage, but he is going to fall down on fire.
Whoopsies.
He is going to kind of stop, drop, and roll, and with him being on fire, he is going to land in that grease. And
nice.
That grease is going to light a blaze.
Problem solved. All right, guys.
And
I think we can call it a night. We got this.
And so this 10-foot circle of grease is now just this burning mass. And to all of your amazement, every child standing within it is unfazed. Their chanting doesn't stop. Nothing happens to their clothes or their skin. They just stand there. And as Father Elijah just kind of extinguishes his own flames, he quickly runs probably 10 or 15 feet away outside as the ground begins to tremble. And underneath where he was, that cross, which is now on fire, that was holding the scarecrow, slowly goes under the ground. As the ground cracks and green light just kind of bursts forth from the ground, and it slowly begins to open, and everything that was there gets sucked in. The ground, the pumpkins, the blood that had covered everything that. Okay. Jaren Avon. Okay. Ooh, natural one, 20 to a 1. See that? All right, Ty. You are standing about 20 feet from this 20-foot tall giant creature. What would you like to do?
So, knowing and seeing that Jaren gets covered in this ooze, this purple, noxious slime almost, and seeing how it kind of almost hardens around his body, making it harder for him to move, I know that if I get caught in that, I'm done for. So I am going to, I believe it's a bonus action to use my wing boots.
Okay.
And I will soar up into the air out of reach of this pumpkin thing, this monstrosity, this abomination, really. And I kind of fly up into the air and like Goku, I raise my hands over my head and I'm going to throw a fireball down on top of it. right behind it so none of my allies get caught in the blast. So it needs to make a dex save.
Okay. What's your DC?
DC 15.
It rolled an 11, so it hits.
Okay. So it is going to take 8d6 fire damage. Sorry, I should have rolled this before. That's my bad.
That's fine.
Okay, so that's 29 points of fire damage.
Nice. And so what does this look like, and where do you hit it?
So I kind of raise my hands over my head. You just see this fire kind of almost pull out of nowhere as a spinning glyph appears, and it grows and expands until it's this like small comet almost. And I raise it over my head and throw it down. As it goes, it becomes bigger and bigger until it slams behind it, earth flying up around it and just burning the turf that was just there. Whatever remnants of the cross is gone. And this explosion rockets against its back, blowing against it, and chunks of pumpkin go flying as bits of this orange ichor inside of it kind of spill out of these openings I've made.
Awesome. Let's see here. Next is going to be Jaren. You are covered in this crud. What would you like to do?
I think he would use his bonus action again to cast Vow of Enmity.
Okay.
And then I think he would use his Misty Step to teleport 30 feet and try to get right underneath the legs or the stalks of this pumpkin.
Okay.
And then he would be kind of setting himself to try to chop the legs out next time he gets to go.
Okay, not a problem. Kit. What would Kit be doing?
Okay. Is she behind the creature, or is she in front
I'd say
of the creature?
she's probably flanking him to his left. His
Okay.
attention is definitely towards Jace, who just tossed his fireball.
She definitely wants to get into place to use sneak attack. So if she's already there, then that's
Yep.
what she's going to do. Let's see if
Okay.
we hit.
Roll to hit.
Yeah. 15 plus modifier.
That hits. It's only a 15.
So it's 3d6 plus the bonus or the damage from her rapier.
Okay.
So what she's going to do is she's going to slash and try to cut off one of its vines, I guess.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. And could you roll damage for me, please?
Sure.
By the way, guys, you are more than welcome to pre-roll when you know that it's going to be your turn. And then you can have the narrative ready for what's going to happen. So just put what your rolls in the chat. So what's the damage, Amanda?
All right. So it's 12 plus the rapier, and the rapier was up there.
Usually 1d8.
1d8. Seven.
Okay, so we have 15 total.
Yep.
No, Yvonne, nobody's frightened. You've slept a little bit, so you're not exhausted yet either. You're not exhausted anymore either. Okay, so we got that. Alrighty, next is going to be Yvonne. What would Tuffany like to do?
Tuffany is going to use Sacred Flame
Okay.
as a cantrip.
Okay.
And let's see. So unfortunately, let's see. We got 5. So I only rolled a 10 on that though. So.
Oh yeah, that will not hit you. You cast this, and this kind of searing light from the top just barely misses with that.
Okay, I'll try again later.
So the creature will go again, and he will try to, having this one person under his legs and one person to his left. He is going to grab for Kit, and he is actually going to grab her in his hand. And in the same motion, he is going to lift his hand above his head, this giant creature, and just begin to slowly lower her into this giant maw that is glowing red from this kind of spiritual energy. But he is slowly bringing her down. And by the next round, you will be completely inside this thing's maw.
Oh, no reaction to evade?
He rolled a 20.
Okay.
You got caught on that one. Let's see.
What's Return of Oz and the Mountain King?
We are going to do Jace. What would you like to do when your sister is now caught in this creature's grasp and it looks to be about to shove her in his mouth?
So I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Drake. I fly down towards the ground, and I land, and I'm going to use benign transposition and switch places with her.
Aww.
That's so sweet.
So I switch places with her, and I look down at it and say, "Gotcha," with a wink, and I use Misty Step as a bonus action.
Nice.
So now she's on the ground 30 feet away from it. I teleport 30 feet away, and then with the rest of the movement, fly back up.
And this thing looks at his hand like, for lack of a better phrase, what the hell? And he's looking around. Jaren, what do you want to do? That was clever, Ty. Very good.
That was good.
That was awesome.
Inspirational good.
I agree. Take a point of inspiration for that, Ty.
Aw, thanks, guys.
Apparently, DM Amanda wants to run the game.
I'm trying not to.
Uh-huh.
Thanks, sis.
You're welcome, bro.
All right, Jaren, you are sitting under this. This thing is looking around. It has no idea what just happened.
I am going to use Divine Smite.
Okay.
And from my understanding, the way it works is I roll my normal attack, and then if I hit, Divine Smite goes off.
That's fine. Go ahead. What are you going to hit? Where are you going to hit it and roll an attack?
I'm rolling in the legs.
Okay.
So the first one would be 17.
That hits.
And then a 12.
Okay. The 12 does not hit.
Okay. So it would be 8 damage for the attack itself. And 12. So 25 total count in Divine Smite.
Okay. So what does that look like when you just lay Divine Smite into one of this thing's kind of viney, spindly legs?
Seeing, and as I'm more a paladin of death, kind of a grim reaper, I just imagine my eyesight would glow, kind of a blackish hue.
Okay.
And then as I cut wherever the side touches, it just starts to wither.
Nice. Okay. Next is going to be Kit. Now that she has been saved from the maw of this creature by her big brother.
Is his arm down? Is his leg down? So this creature, is there a way that I can run up, climb on its back, and then use a rapier to slash it?
Give me an acrobatics check higher than 15, and you can do that.
All right. Acrobatics. So roll the 20, and that is a 17 plus whatever my acrobatics is.
That works. You just needed a 15.
Okay.
So describe this and roll damage for me.
She's going to run up the backside of the pumpkin, and she's like, ah, yeah! Sneak attack. All right, so she did her sneak attack, which is 15, and then her, wait, that's 1d8 is, oh yeah, that's sneak attack, and the other one is the 1d8, and that's 8. So 15 plus 8.
So was this like on the top of the head of this thing, or was it on the back?
Yep, that's like right on top of its head. She's just like, whap! And then she gets the pumpkin in hers, and they're just like shooting out, and she suddenly wishes she can roast some of those pumpkin seeds, but that just,
That's a little meta right there. Okay, Tuffany. So you threw this kind of radiant damage on there. Your companions are doing some pretty epic things. What do you want to do?
Well, like I said, try again. So I'm gonna, since it is a cantrip, I'm gonna go ahead and try it again.
Okay.
And you said we could pre-roll, so which I already did.
Okay.
And I ended up with a 26.
Awesome. That hits. What's the damage?
So the damage is 2d8 radiant. So, oh, come on. What am I? So 8 points of damage radiant.
Okay. What does it look like when this kind of heavenly fire hits it?
You could see just maybe some of the goo start to bubble and boil. And it's, even though it may be coming out of its mouth, now it's like coming out all bubbly, and it's even more disgusting.
Awesome. He is going to go again. This time he is going to try to grab the man underneath him, Jaren. Jaren, he grabs you. He actually rolled a 19. And the same thing, except he doesn't raise his hand this time. He just instantly just jams you in his hand into his mouth. And you, the only thing hanging, he is holding on to your upper torso, and your legs are kind of kicking. You don't take any damage yet because you're not there, but you are basically restrained at this point. Ty, what do you want to do? You have someone else in the thing's mouth now.
Oh my gosh, guys. Sadly, I can't do that again until I cast another conjuration spell. So what I'll do instead then is, so he's inside of this creature's mouth.
About halfway, yes. Like
about halfway in.
Like if it was like this, you would see his like his feet.
Like kind of flailing out the mouth of this thing?
It's like the end of the pencil, yeah.
Okay. So I see it just like, so I'm up in the air. I've just barely done this thing. I've saved Kit, and then I'm just like shaking my head. I'm like, does it ever end? And what I'll do is to try and allow him to get a chance to get out. I fly down parallel with this thing.
Okay.
And I'm going to lightning bolt to try and unhinge its jaw.
Okay.
So I try and aim at the lower part of its jaw to maybe make it split open so it can't swallow any more people. I don't have to deal with this anymore.
Okay.
So it needs to make a dex save.
Okay. He rolled a 22.
Okay, that'll be enough. So he'll only take half of this then. 12, 16, 22. Okay, so it was 27.
Okay.
So half of that would be 14 then.
Okay. I don't think if he made the save, I don't think that it would unhinge its jaw, but he might just kind of pull him out just slightly for a moment, but I don't think it would unhinge his jaw yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would either. I think like maybe he kind of sees it coming, kind of gets a hand up in the way a bit, and it kind of deflects off the hand and gets lower than I was aiming for.
Yeah. All right, Jaren, you are restrained in this thing's mouth. Again, he's slowly trying to just basically eat you. What would you like to do? Unless you want to try to break it, you can do a strength check. You can do opposing strength checks if you like.
Evan has his eyes, and he just looks back at the group, aches his head, and he uses his feet to push himself down inside this beast's throat, and he'll slash Ash.
I'm going to give you an auto hit since you're right there. Roll me some damage on it.
Okay, the first one would be 12 damage.
Okay. I think you could probably only get, basically being inside of this thing at this point, I think you probably couldn't get, 2 damage, but the 12 would definitely hit as you are inside of it. Completely, you will be, for all intents and purposes, you will be blinded, and you will be restrained.
And as my last bonus action,
okay,
I'm Misty stepping right down underneath him. And I'll
Okay.
just fall right on the ground, side and all.
Okay. Kit, you are still on top of this thing. What would you like to do?
I say, I would like to. I'm going to concentrate really hard on a joke and then project it into its mind and use Tasha's hideous laughter. Pumpkin, you just got punked, yo! I don't know. So DC of 13 is what you have to try to beat or become prone.
All right. I'm really not sure how that's going to work, but he rolled a 10. So apparently, let me check this thing's intelligence. Yeah, he's going to be smart enough to think. So with that, if I remember correctly, with Tasha's hideous laughter, he actually falls prone and just begins laughing.
Yep.
So what you guys hear is and see, as I'm assuming that you're going to jump off as he falls.
Of course.
He falls down, and this just booming kind of guttural voice, you hear this. As this creature falls prone, and all of you at this point you are pretty much guaranteed a hit. So we're going to go with never thought you'd use that one. Yvonne.
You just got punked, Pumpkin.
He did. Yvonne, you are guaranteed a hit with whatever you do. What?
Or we can just run away.
You could.
Before they take the attacks, how much damage do I take, seeing that it would have fallen prone directly on top of me?
I don't think it would have fallen on top of you, per se. I think it would just have kind of gone to the side. You'd be okay. You would basically be standing between its legs, Jaren. Enjoy that. Yvonne, what is yours?
All right, so I was going to go with a different spell, but since I have a free hit on this, I'm going to go ahead and throw Sacred Flame one more time at it. Might as well go for what I know is going to hit and make it all bubbly inside.
Okay. So it hits, so roll me some damage.
5 points of damage.
Okay. And where would it be hitting? Like on what part?
Maybe like right on the face, towards the left eye.
Okay. So it's almost like you burn a hole in right under its left kind of cut out triangle eye.
Nice.
And Ty, what would you like to do?
Okay, so I'm just looking this up real quickly. If I cast it a 3rd level or higher. Okay, so I'm going to cast... So it's lying on the ground laughing, yeah?
Yeah.
Just laughing. Okay.
This
so
giant 20-foot creature is on the ground prone laughing.
I fly within 60 feet of it, this massive maw opening and closing as it's laughing. And like kind of taking aim, I summon flaming sphere within its throat.
Okay.
As a 3rd level spell, which makes it do 3d6 if it fails on a dexterity saving throw. And I'm assuming it can't make one because it's laughing too hard.
I would give you that, yes. It's laughing too hard.
Okay. So that'll do a total then of 13 damage.
Okay.
And every single turn that it's near the sphere or that I can move it as a bonus action, it's going to take 2d6.
Awesome.
So I do 13 points of damage. This leftover sacred flame, as it slams to the ground, these little flames kind of kindling up in the grass, they pool together in this orb within the mouth of this thing, just drop in.
Okay. This is just kind of funny. So as this thing, if I remember correctly with Tasha's laughter, does it get to roll after damage with advantage to...
At the end of a turn, and it takes damage, target, wisdom throw, target advantage or saving throw. Yeah, triggered by damage on a successful spell ends.
Okay, so you are going to be, excuse me, actually, Jaren goes next and then you. And right before you, it will make its wisdom save again.
Ever try a maneuver he's only done once, and he would leap up some assault, and the whole time his side's hanging down, so it just looks like it's a spinning side.
Okay.
And he horribly misses so bad that he actually gashes into his own leg, and then he falls right on the on the other side.
Ouch. Okay, he is going to do a quick wisdom check again. And that time he rolled a 1 and he rolled a 19. So he is going to be out of the control of this laughter. He has stopped laughing, but he is still prone, at least for this attack. So, Kit, what would you like to do?
How far is everybody around it? Is it everybody pretty much on top of it?
Jaren is on top of it as he just cut himself. Ty's like 60 feet away, and Yvonne's probably 25 or 30 feet away.
So putting grease in its mouth and having it explode, probably not the best of ideas. I take my rapier and
You look cool. Do it.
You can do it. You can do it.
Yes. I cast grease into its flaming maw, and it...
So we are setting grease on fire. So as this happens, this creature stands up. It's no longer prone, and from all of the openings in its mouth, and you can see these flames and this grease that is on fire dripping from out of its eyes and out of its mouth. As it stands up there and it looks at you, Kit. And as it does, you can see its face basically cave in and almost kind of melt as this giant creature falls directly forward onto its face as its body is consumed by this grease and this fire. And as that happens, the ground again cracks. And that green ethereal light comes up again. And it is just sitting there burning and not moving. Yvonne, what would you like to do?
All right, so gosh darn it. So the creature itself, you said, is not moving, correct?
It's the giant head of this giant pumpkin creature is on fire, and it's like the head of it is melting.
Okay, so you said I'm within 30 feet of it?
Yeah, probably about 30 feet.
Oh, okay. I'm going to take a step back because at this point I have a feeling it's going to pop. So I just want to take a little bit of a step back to make sure I don't get any of that melty goodness all over me and burn me.
Okay, that's your turn. You just want to take a step back?
I just want to take a step back at this point because it's like I don't want to get hurt.
Okay, then I will have to again, that the ground is again starting to crack open, and you hear that growl again. But it's muffled. It doesn't sound as strong. And you, from this kind of green ethereal light, you see every once in a while you'll see a spirit fly out, and then a raven, and then a spirit, and then a raven, as all of these creatures that had been in this vortex, in this maelstrom, that all of their spiritual energy and evil into this creature are slowly popping out as this creature shrinks smaller and smaller and smaller as that fire continues to consume it. Ty, what would you like to do?
So the body's basically getting smaller?
Yes, it is physically getting smaller and smaller. It's probably, instead of 20 feet tall now, it's probably 15. As these spirits and this evil leaves this creature, slowly it's shrinking.
So Jace, obsessed with his study of the arcane, flies down next to it and I kind of just lean in and start to study it. Like, I think it's dead. Jace is brash. Jace is obsessed with the arcane. He maybe wouldn't even recognize the danger in being near this thing. Not entirely sure if it's dead or alive. And I'm just going to maybe try and collect a sample or something to study.
Okay, and how would you do that, Jace?
So I got a bad feeling when the DM asks how are you going to do that. I land next to it, and I kind of cock my head to the side in this old kind of letter opener almost. I take it and kind of stick it into the body and kind of carve a small triangle out of it, like I'm cutting like a jack-o'-lantern. And I cut this triangle piece out, and kind of like slide it out of the body and reach into my bag where I'm sure I keep a couple vials and reach inside and scoop a bit of the liquid.
First, as you pierce the head of this creature that is bubbling and boiling and getting, just smaller and smaller, you hear like steam releasing, and all at once it explodes.
Frank, I knew it.
Knocks you back unconscious 30 feet. You take 15 points.
Oh no.
Damage. Jaren knocks you back. You take 15 points of force damage. Kit, roll me a dexterity check because you weren't that close. Yvonne, you're safe.
15 plus dex.
Okay. You are safe too. You see this, and you see your brother just fly past you on the right, just with the force that thing, as small pieces of like liquid pumpkin are on fire, kind of stuck to him, to his hair, to just everywhere as he is burned. And with this, all of that energy, all of those ravens, everything just bursts out of him. And there's probably 30 seconds of just yelling and screaming and cawing, and then silence.
Okay, I run over to my brother and I smother out the pumpkin bits as fast as she can. She's rolling them over. No, brother, no!
And you roll him over, and he's like, I hate pumpkins.
And as that happens, you see all of the children come to. Their eyes are no longer glazed over. And Jaren kind of picks himself up and wipes himself off. And the children kind of run to him and they say, thank you so much. And the last thing that you guys notice is the pendant that Yvonne is wearing, glowing brighter than it ever has. And off at the far end of the pumpkin patch, when this has been defeated and everything seems quiet, a small pumpkin, something that's kind of innocuous in the corner as you all celebrate, and the children come to and the townsfolk wake up, this small pumpkin begins to kind of shake and rattle. It's probably only, the size of a fist, maybe a little bit bigger. And it turns over and we kind of pan onto it and get closer. And you see a small smile, and its eye, it has two little eyes cut out in triangles, and one of them winks at you, and you hear this. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where we'll end.
Very cool.
Sorry for the kind of time crunch there at the back, but BrigadeCon, have another game. Yeah, that was kind of fun. I enjoyed that.
Holy Pumpkin
Very cool.
King!
Good game.
Yeah, dude, I will share it. I will share it with you. There's actually a homebrew Pumpkin King, like actual stats. I didn't use some of his legendary things, but I saw the picture of this Pumpkin King, and I'm like, this has to be the end guy. It's
He has legendary actions too.
Oh, dude,
Okay.
I'll send you the screenshot. I'll send you a screenshot of it. It's pretty awesome.
Dang.
It's like 225 hit points. It's pretty badass. Now, Yvonne,
Yes.
you had the opportunity to kill this thing and make it blow up, and you chose to take a step back.
Jace got the final kill.
Well, but you stuck it. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, that was a lot of fun. Jaren, you keep me on my toes because 3/4 of the shit that you do, I don't plan for. So yeah, but no, it was a lot of fun. I think you guys did a really good job with it.
Very cool.
It was totally awesome again. Probably, I would say my up there with the tomorrow game.
It's fun. Amanda?
You,
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jaren.
you're just knocking out like every game I've watched of yours. It's right up there with my favorites.
Oh, nice.
I just have fun. Amanda, you know, I kept trying to give you opportunities to do something like epic, and I just was like, I didn't know. But you did a couple. Everybody did a couple of cool things. It was kind of fun. And we almost. I will tell you guys, I had 2 pages worth of notes. You know how many things we actually used off of it?
Like 4?
Like 2 sentences.
Wow.
Yeah,
Like,
nice.
pretty much the entire session was ad lib. There was the Pumpkin King. There was Father Elijah as the Scarecrow guy that was supposed to be the vessel, and there was the exorcism. That was pretty much it. So, anyway, guys, for anyone that's watching, we are going to do quick kind of exit because people didn't get to talk about their channels and everything. But again, this is BrigadeCon 2016. I'm going to have my players here kind of introduce themselves and their channels, and then we're going to log off because there's another game pretty soon. So we're going to start with Ty.
Hey guys, I'm Ty. I'm from the channel On a Roll. I played Jace Boltron tonight. It was tons of fun. I've only ever played with 2 of these people. First time with Amanda and Yvonne, so good first time. Fun session, totally. The Pumpkin King, man. The Pumpkin King, that's all I can say. Thanks for running a great game, like always.
Thanks, buddy. Let's go with Jaren next.
I'm driven D&D with Power Up Gamers again. Awesome game. Really enjoy playing with Ty again and Drake. Pleasure like always. I just loved Kit. Even though I wasn't quite the right personality to play off of Kit.
You did good. You did good.
But I thought we all kind of gelled pretty good.
Cool. Yvonne, would you like to plug anything or?
No, I'm Yvonne. I played Tuffney, the main Lux, the cleric, and I do not have a channel. So that's me. Thank you for the game. It was wonderful.
This was Yvonne's first online game, so
Woohoo! Good job, girl.
so we got her kind of into that. Hold on a second. Hold on a second, guys. What was your take on this is your first online game, so
well, actually, this is my first online weekend. I played a game earlier this morning, and that was interesting from that perspective. It was totally different from this. And this was absolutely amazing. It reminded me a lot of the games that my husband runs, which are off the cuff and a lot of fun as well. So yeah, it was a great time. I appreciate all the prep that we did for this. It made me very relaxed.
awesome. I'm glad that you enjoyed yourself. You're always welcome at my table if I ever do the interest post. So you're always welcome. So thank you.
Thank you.
Amanda, finally.
Finally, I am DM Deistress. You can find me at DM Deistress on Twitter, and I have a podcast coming up. It's called Dead Dice Society. Also can be found on Twitter if you would like to go there. And I have a YouTube channel with no content, but it's also Dead Dice Society. So
Awesome, guys. Well, again, I got to prep for the next game for BrigadeCon. So again, guys, thank you very much for coming out and playing great characters. I appreciate everything that you guys did. I will put all of your channel information and stuff in the kind of description here. I'll do that a little bit later today. So we'll get Amanda's and Ty's and Jaren's stuff. And yeah, you guys, again, y'all killed it. I appreciate it. If you guys go to brigadecon.org and donate if possible, it's a great charity, and I look forward to great games.
Get some nifty shirts.
Yep, we have these kind of
nifty shirts.
So yeah, there you go. So, all right, guys, y'all have a great day. I'm gonna stop the broadcast. Y'all take care.
Bye.
All right, give it a sec.